Welsh varsity match, do you, or a clash like this one? But if there's one man who I know is ready to tell us everything we need to know, the voice of BUCS Rugby.
That's a lot of pressure.
It's not that much pressure. Mr. Dave Rogers, you're here to help me preview this game, and it's not a small one, is it?
No. And I am absolutely delighted to be here, and here in particular because outside is grim, but in here it's nice and warm. This fixture is absolutely massive. At the inception of BUCS Super Rugby, it was just Cardiff Met flying the flag for Wales. Now we've got Cardiff Met, Cardiff University and Swansea all looking to take that crown, not just as the Welsh champions, but the BUCS Super Rugby champions as well.
It's bragging rights, isn't it, at
the
the end of the day?
Yeah. And Cardiff Met, of course, could go 4 from 4. They've already beaten Cardiff University twice at the Arms Park. They were tight games. There was only a couple of points in it when these two met at St Helens earlier in the year as well. Brad Roderick Evans with that monster penalty that went about as close to viral as anything in BUCS Super Rugby. I tell you what, Swansea have got every chance of getting their first victory over Cardiff Met in the BUCS Super Rugby era tonight.
It's not just this game, though, is it? Like, there is a real buzz about BUCS Rugby at the moment. How so? Because it's across the league.
Of course there is, and rightfully so as well. Firstly, and foremostly, and most importantly, every Wednesday there are unbelievable games. And that doesn't matter if it's in Cardiff or Exeter or Loughborough or Leeds or Durham. All over the country, everywhere is absolutely smashing it. But then there's the pathway, and you've got Eddie Jones saying that Cardiff Met is a breeding ground for Test match rugby players because Tom Pearson and Alex Donbrant and Luke Northmore get the call up. And then you go to Bristol Bears and you see Fitz Harding having the season of his life, and everywhere you look, there is BUCS Super Rugby.
It's just quality everywhere, isn't it? Were you around and watching BUCS Rugby when Alex Donbrant and Luke Northmore were playing?
Do you know what? Recently, it was my my 4th anniversary of being involved with BUCS Super Rugby. But that was the Donbrant breakout season. That was when everybody was talking about this incredible second rower with Joe Burns, who is having a lovely time in Beijing. Can't wait till he comes back, Burnsy.
He'll be watching and all, I guarantee it.
It's probably colder here than it is out there at the Winter Olympics at the moment. He's like, mate, you need to see this guy. He's got hands like clouds, but he's brutal. And he was incredible. I remember that game at Twickenham where he didn't score, but he had that beautiful backdoor offload for the try. Northmore played that day. Max Llewellyn played that day. He was going well at Cardiff. And then there was the Hartbury team as well, where they had all the boys who were playing in the Championship now. Yeah, halcyon days, great memories.
It's mad, though, isn't it? Because it's actually not just those guys. It goes back decades, this dynasty that Cardiff Met have created. You know, you've got the likes of Dom Day, who played for Scarlets, moved to Saracens. There was also, when I was in university, Alex Cuthbert was playing on the wing here, and he ran out for Wales at the weekend.
Remarkable. I mean, UWIC, Cardiff Met, you're not supposed to say UWIC anymore, and I'll get wrist slapped for that. But however, the Cardiff Met Ultras will be singing it this evening. The Welsh rugby legacy is incredible, but it is at Swansea, it is at Cardiff. This part of the world, they love their rugby. And it's not 10 years ago, it's not today, it'll be in 10 years' time, 20 years. I think it'll always be the case. And I'm so pleased that we are seeing it firsthand tonight.
So am I. But actually, we had a little catch-up with a couple of the guys in camp earlier on in the week. Shall we hear from them?
Iwan Shenton, Cardiff Met, back row.
Dan Milton, Cardiff Met University, Director of Rugby.
I played football all the way through until I was 15, then went to Neath College, joined up with the Ospreys for 3 years, and then I found myself in university in Cardiff Met, and just love being in uni and hopefully have a good season this year.
I think one of the strengths of BUCS Super Rugby is, you know, that fixture list came out the other week, and you're looking across each week, and you're looking for that easy week, and there doesn't seem to be one. And I think that's the great thing about it, and the different challenges you have.
Probably just getting back out in front of everyone at Cyncoed as well, and they're obviously great support we have at home. So yeah, that's probably the biggest thing I'm looking forward to. Yeah, it's a big honour to captain this club, so looking forward to it.
You know, while on-field performances and results are always really, really important, I think this year is going to be about not just our team, but all BUCS Super Rugby teams driving those social connections and just getting back together and the family feel that we have around BUCS Super Rugby. Creative, hard-working and physical.
Jenkins, Swansea University, number 8.
Hugo Gustafsson, I'm the head coach for Swansea University rugby team. Yeah, well, I think this time, last interview, we watched back, I think they written us off. I think we got told before the Loughborough game before we beat them that we would be probably in a relegation battle, so a bit of fuel for the fire for us, and then we ended up 7th, so we were ahead of Northumbria, Bath and Cardiff, so first year up at Super Rugby and finishing 7th was pretty a decent mark for us, but we're not happy just being there. We're going to push on this year as well.
I think it's just to improve on our last year here. Obviously we got into a playoff spot, but it's just to push on from there. Obviously there's a new group of lads in, obviously because with everything going on, we've recruited well. But I think it's just, you know, making a good account of ourselves again this year and just improve from last time.
So, no, look, we're not going to win the league, to be honest. No, because there's some really good teams here and they've been established 10 years and built, 5-6 deep depth of teams. But we're going to keep on fighting, keep on working hard, and we'll probably be a few more surprises we're going to put out there. So I would say the 3 things are jouer, hard work and family.
Dave, Dan Milton there, referring to this team as being creative, hardworking and physical. They're going to have a tough job being creative in this weather.
Oh, it's certainly going to have to be physical. It is howling, the wind, it's wet as well. But one of the things that Cyncoed and this place is renowned for is making it difficult for the opposition. They've had 1 draw and 5 wins here this season. It doesn't matter who comes down, they give them a hard time. And I think that's something that other teams around them in the league will know. And I think that's something that other teams, particularly around them in the league like Loughborough, they made it a bit easy for Durham to come down and get a 5-point win last week. That never happens here at Cyncoed.
No, and it's, of course, the business end of the season, so every game counts. In the context of these 2 teams, where do they lie at the moment? What do they want from this game?
This is absolutely huge. Both teams want to win. We're going to have a look at the league table shortly because Cardiff Met have pretty much got top 4 guaranteed. They want to finish 3rd because that might give them a slightly easier playoff fixture, even though there's no such thing as an easy fixture. We heard Hugo Gustafsson there say that Swansea finished 7th. That was a great achievement. If results go their way, if they keep winning, they could finish 6th. Looking at the table now, there is that game in hand. They've not guaranteed the playoffs, but if you've played 14 games, there are a maximum of 20 points available. Leeds Beckett had that postponement against Cardiff Uni today. They're going to have to win all their games to get off playoff place. If Swansea can get to 6th or 5th, then they'll have a playoff game against Loughborough or Cardiff Met. They don't have that long journey to Exeter or Durham. And if they get a good result here against Cardiff Met, then they'll be thinking, why can't we do it in the playoffs? Or if they go up to Loughborough on the 4G on a dry day, they're a team that likes to pass the ball around. Why can't they do that? Because Hugo Gustafsson said they're not going to win the league. But if you get into the playoffs and then you win a quarter-final, then why not? Anything can happen in this league, and we've seen teams finish in the bottom half and win the playoffs, most notably against Cardiff Met when Hartbury did it all those years ago.
Well, knockout rugby is knockout rugby, and we did actually see these 2 teams compete against each other already this season. Shall we take a little look at what happened?
Iwan Shenton, he is a powerhouse. That's the least I can say about him. He's commanding already, he's shouting at his players. He will want to get the ball to hand and attack this Swansea defence.
Make his way between the posts many times this season. The Swansea boys, they're not sure he can do it.
I can't believe he's going for this one.
He does go for it. It is a punt. It's got the distance. And it's got the accuracy. He's a man who's been important. He's a very experienced player for this side. He'll be crucial in this scrum, which is taking place again over on that far-hand side, right in the corner. And it breaks nicely. Here is Cardiff Met. Then they're going to dive over the line. It's a lovely bit of play from that scrum. We picked it out in the build-up. It is a try for Cardiff Met. Yeah, electric pace on both sides. And as we said, here comes Swansea Uni once again. The number 9, Griff Williams, has kept the ball moving well so far, and here comes Swansea. It is the centre. He's gone through. Tom Florence.
The fly half seems to be a key position for each team, and Gwyn Parks is proving us right again.
Here he is again with a lovely dummy pass. The centre's over again. Tom Florence over the line. Gwyn Parks with the assist. We've seen it from the sub so far, and now Cardiff Met find themselves in a dangerous position. They are yards short of the try line. As support arrives on this near side, arms go up. It is the arms of Swansea players though.
It's a try, Cardiff Met. Back in the first 15, and he's got a try. Roderick Evans with a kick now.
And Roderick Evans almost inevitably converts the try. He did need a hand from Charles Rylands there to keep the ball on the spot. Cardiff Uni, if they want to use it, they elect not to. They're going to keep moving it forward phase after phase. Charles Rylands is on the shoulder. They're going to keep going. It's yardage gain. The referee blows his whistle. If you look at the table, it's fair to say you might be surprised as we see the classic clap from the Ultras.
So we've let Dave head off to do whatever it is Dave does before he gets ready for a commentary on BUCS Super Rugby. And I have been joined by Wales, Bristol Bears, Shuan Lillycrap. Oh, it's wonderful, firstly, to have you with us, someone of your stature in the old BUCS studio, this lovely alpine cabin. But you were at that game.
Yeah.
What was your main takeaways?
Yeah, it was a close game. I think I was working at Swansea at the time, so gutted with the result at the end. And I thought we could have actually won that game. Swansea could have in December. Cardiff Met scored a great try at the end and that conversion to win them the game. So it was a terrible evening, like it is tonight. It was wet, it was windy, it was in December at St Helens, but it was to the wire. So hopefully we'll have another encounter like that tonight. But there were some great tries out there, so hopefully we'll have some good tries in these conditions tonight as well.
But oh my gosh, hasn't your life changed in the last couple of months? Maybe you can just let everybody know a little bit about what's happened with the Wales Central contracts and how you've left your job at Swansea to be a professional rugby player.
Yeah, so I was head of rugby at Swansea University. I've done that for 5 years actually, and that absolutely flew. But I was fortunate enough to get offered a full-time contract centrally with Wales, which I had to grab with both arms and take. If I don't do it now, I would never do it. So yeah, now I'm a pro player, so centrally trained with Wales and Bristol. I'm loving it. It is life-changing. You get to concentrate on training, recovery, and focusing solely on playing myself with a couple of added extras like this, which is brilliant to be back at University Rugby. But yeah, focus on the World Cup this year for us.
I know it's not far away at all, is it? How much is this going to change the game for women rugby players in Wales?
Oh, it's massive. I actually read an article yesterday that come out from the Ospreys under-18s captain Jess, and she's an under-18s player now, captain in the Ospreys, and she actually says in her interview, I've now got something to aspire to. I can actually be a pro player one day, and that is massive. It's life-changing for myself, but it's even bigger for those youngsters who now can aspire to do something they love day in, day out. So that's the most pleasing bit for me. It's what it's doing for our future generations, and they've got something to aspire to. And she actually says, I've actually got women role models to look up to now, which is massive. When I was watching the game growing up, there was no exposure of women's rugby. So my role models were Martin Williams and those guys, and now girls under 18 players are talking about us. So it's massive. It's huge.
How difficult is it knowing that this space exists and you've got central contracts, but we're saying, guys, you have to go and ply your trade in England every week? I mean, is that maybe the next step to start thinking about kind of regional games in the women's game in Wales?
Yeah, definitely. So, they've kicked off regional under-18s now, which is step one, I guess. It is tough. We as Welsh players spend a lot of time on the road to be able to play a good, standard, competitive game of rugby. I love it in Bears. The setup there is outstanding, but I'm spending 2 hours on the road just to get to training. So definitely, I think the pathway and the structure into playing international rugby is being looked at, and I think we'll see a lot of change coming in the future, which is for the better and positive.
So with your Swansea head-on initially,
okay, yep.
What's it like for these boys, all of whom coming to a place like Cardiff Met, who have this absolute dynasty about them? I mean, does it take a certain type of mindset to approach a game like this?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's a Welsh derby, isn't it? But I can guarantee you those boys will be up for it. They would have been speaking about it, irrelevant of the fixtures last week. Since Christmas, they would have been speaking about the Cardiff fixture we had a few weeks ago, and now this fixture. So love a Welsh derby. I think the competition in Wales is brilliant in BUCS Super Rugby. But the boys will be up for it. They would have trained hard this week. There's a mixture of kind of experience and freshers in this squad, and it's an exciting squad. And I think, if anything, from our Christmas meet in December to go by, is going to be a good fixture tonight.
It's a tough one, isn't it? Because at this time of the year, you're actually losing players to the under-20s teams, whether that's England. Scotland's team sheet basically reads like a university social.
Yeah.
So how do you pull people together and put out a competitive team during this time of the year?
Yeah, I think it is more difficult, but other boys have an opportunity to grab during that time, you know, and sometimes the opportunities come when other people are injured or on international duty. So those boys will be up for it, but it's great to see a couple of boys being released back in. Callum Dodd on the wing today, you know, he's in the under-20 squad. So, you know, WRU are working with the universities as well, and boys who aren't getting game time are being released back to the universities. So I'm looking forward to seeing Callum go on the wing today. Actually, he's elusive, he's fast, so it'd be good to see how Callum goes, and hopefully he can put his hands up for selection for Wales under-20s next week then.
Now, on the Cardiff Met side of things, there's another winger who's catching our eye, Roma Zeng.
Yeah.
What do we know about him?
Well, he's outstanding, isn't he? Like, where's he come from? I think he was in Sale Sharks Academy, and now he's, first year here at Cardiff Met. He's scoring tries for fun. He's elusive. He's a bit of a combination of a couple of wingers. He's physical, isn't he? But he's got that speed to him as well. So he's a bit of Zammit in there with his speed, but also plays like a centre at times. So, yeah, I'm excited to see how he goes and see how he goes in these conditions today. I wonder if he can get over the whitewash. I've seen he scored a brilliant try last week through the middle of the park from nowhere against Hartpury. So it'd be interesting to see how he goes.
It's amazing, isn't it, to have young talent like that released by clubs, but then the universities kind of create a bit of a catch-all and give opportunities and second chances to players like him.
Oh, definitely. And, you know, that's when I was in Swansea, that's what we wanted to do, is give players a second chance or an opportunity. You know, the boys work hard. They want to be professional players. You know, we got an example in Swansea of Max Nagy as well, who's recently graduated, played 3 years for Swansea University, not from Swansea, but got picked up by Ospreys and now got a pro contract, you know. And we see cases from here into Quins, from Cardiff Met into Quins and Donbrat, Northmore, etc. You know, it's brilliant. It does give players an opportunity, that second chance to really gain a pro contract and live their dream.
Much like yourself, really, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Where are the danger man in this Swansea side? Where should we be looking?
There's a couple of danger men. I think Davlan's an exciting 9 for Swansea, so you know he'll snipe a lot around the ruck, and he's gives really quick ball for Swansea.
The best 9 that Hugo Staffen's ever seen, apparently.
Is that what Gus said?
That's what he said, yeah.
Let's hope that Dav lives up to that. No pressure, Dav, tonight, but the best 9 he was ever seen, so you've got to live up to that standards, because that's live now, that quote is. But the back row is really exciting. Kai Davis recently returned from injury for Swansea. He's playing 6 today, normally an 8 in Ospreys, involved in Ospreys. So he's his 3rd game back this evening, so it'd be really exciting to see how Kai and Scott Jenkins goes together at 6 and 8, because Scott is an 8 as well, but they moved Kai to 6, so a lot of physicality in that back row. So I'm excited to see that combination. And as I mentioned earlier, Callum on the wing then as well. I'm excited to see if he gets his ball in the ball in hand this evening, and see what he can do in a bit of space. So yeah, those are the players I'd look out for.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because in weather like this, there's going to be a lot of emphasis on the pack, and both packs of both teams are maybe not quite what we'd expect. It's not your first choice. So is that going to be, to a certain extent, where this game's won? Who manages best in terms of strength and depth?
Yeah, definitely. I think, you know, today is it going to be a forwards ground out who can dig in the most, and you know, who can keep hold of possession really in the tight areas. Set piece is going to play a huge part in it. I suspect there'll be a few scrums this evening. So yeah, it will come down to the forwards, and especially the tight 5, I think, over how they ground that out and how they can work hard. And whoever wins that battle, I think, will come off best tonight.
Siobhan, thank you so much. I can't wait to see what you've got for us in commentary alongside Dave Rogers. A little bit earlier on, though, our cameras caught up with both of the coaches. Let's hear what they had to say.
I think it's inevitable. It's going to be, you know, it's an old cliche, but it's going to be a game of 2 halves. I feel that we've really got to control possession when we're going to be playing into the wind. And likewise then it's going to be a territory game when we're playing with the wind. And I think whoever controls those conditions the best will come out on top tonight, because as we know, they are a great leveller. Ironically, the conditions were very similar down there at the start of the year, and we played with the wind first half, and Swansea certainly took it to us, and we only had a narrow lead. They went in front, but of course we had a great comeback. We squeezed them in the last 20 minutes, and if we're honest, it was a hell of a game. We were probably fortunate to get the win that night.
That's going to be huge. No, there's going to be errors, so we know there's going to be probably a few scrum fests, as they say. But it's a neutral for both sides. No, we're going to manage whether I've been down the field now. It's not going one direction. It's swirling. So it's not about flip of a coin in which way you want to play. You've got to play with the elements, both halves of the field. I think it's probably penalty count will be huge today because it's been hard for both teams to get out of the 22 who are working their way up the field. So if we keep our penalties down, it should be in a good battle.
BUCS Super Rugby round 15, and it is a Welsh derby. Cardiff Met looking to go undefeated against the Welsh sides, but no game between Cardiff Met, Cardiff University and Swansea has been decided by more than 4 points this season. Let's take a look at how the teams line up then, starting with Cardiff Met. Just the one change in the pack from the victory over Hartpury as former Dragon Dylan Bartlett comes into the second row in place of Barney Langton. Ollie Andrews, having played on the tight head for most of the season, continues on the loose head side. It's a relatively settled backline too. Cian Richard comes in at scrum half as Ethan McVeigh drops to the bench. David Tuetti is given the 13 jersey for the second time in a row. And the league's top scorer, Brad Roderick Evans, wears 10. He could pass 200 points for the season this evening. As for Swansea, they've had to make a few changes in the pack as Garen Lloyd comes in for the captain Josh Moore, and in the engine room Thomas Davis and Chris Thompson come in for Ben Gregory and Lewis Jones. It's a welcome return for Kai Davis after his injury problems. And 2 under-20s internationals are on the wings as well. Callan Dodd of Wales and Louis Rees of Scotland have both been sent back for game time. Although I'm sure they'd rather be at home in the warm, resting the hamstrings, given the conditions here this evening. The benches, who I've no doubt will be wrapped up in extremely warm bench coats. But Barnaby Waddell and Bailey Marshall tell for the forwards cover for Cardiff Met. They've played plenty of BUCS Super Rugby, and Ethan McVeigh will be leaving Cardiff for the sunshine of San Diego and Major League in a few weeks. And for Swansea, Connor Thomas comes in. Massive opportunity for him as well. Opportunity is the key word today for the teams, for the teams and for the players. For those who've stepped in for the injury cover, for those who've stepped in for the under-20s cover, and of course for the teams as Cardiff Met look for a top 3 finish, and Swansea are looking to push up for 6th, which would be their best return and would give them a more favourable draw when it comes for the playoffs. Shuan, you have made the long journey from the punditry position to the co-commentary position. Let's have a chat about this as a rivalry, because you've only just left Swansea University as the director of rugby. There's a lot in the press at the moment about Cardiff Met, and rightfully so. But there's plenty going on at Swansea as well, and this is an opportunity for Swansea University to put their best foot forward and show everyone what they're about too.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot in the press about Cardiff Met, but rightly so as well. There's a great programme here, and Danny runs a great programme as well. So, but Swansea, when I was there, we were striving, to reach Cardiff Met's point really, and we've taken huge strides forwards in the last few years. And the likes of Hugo Staffson there as head coach is outstanding. James Hook come on board last year. How many people can say I've got a British and Irish Lion as my attack coach? And we all know he's a great player, but he's a great coach as well. So that's super exciting, and there's lots of things going on behind the scenes in Swansea, and players coming through the pathway there.
Well, the league as a whole then, because of course we're talking about Swansea and Cardiff Met today, they put a lot of miles in. They go up to Durham, they go to Exeter, even Leeds Beckett, who, if you've not been aware, BUCS Super Rugby fans, they've travelled all the way down to Cardiff today to play at the Arms Park, only for it to be cancelled at the last minute because of the adverse weather conditions. We can just see some of the weather there. What a remarkable league this is to be involved with as a player, as a coach. I mean, you mentioned James Hook there, and you were involved yourself as Wales captain. It's just drawing the right people into rugby, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's an outstanding league, and it gives players the opportunity to express themselves, be part of an academy-like programme within a university, play good quality rugby week in, week out against brilliant opposition. And I think the way universities are now buying into this league, it's an exciting outfit, and we've seen it in Swansea as well. A couple of players transition from Swansea University into Ospreys, so it's brilliant. And yeah, well, I can hear the boys getting excited for it as we're on mic here. Actually, I think the changing rooms are next door. Well,
unbelievably, the ultras have still turned out. There's still support, and Cardiff Met, are making their way out onto the pitch first. I'm not a weatherman, I'm a rugby commentator, but I would describe these conditions as hanging.
Yeah, I agree. It's not the perfect rugby conditions, but you know that's rugby, I guess, and they'll adapt to the conditions today. It's windy out there as well, so I'm sure players will have their tactics. You know, that rain and that wind, I think there'll be quite a bit of kick in this first half, especially in these conditions.
Well, there is Roma Zeng, lots being said about him, and again, let's talk about opportunity, because he scored 5 tries this season. He looks incredibly physical. He's great over the ball. But on either wing for Swansea today are 2 under-20s internationals.
Yeah, some pace on both wings as well for Swansea. So, you know, the conditions probably aren't favouring them. But I'd like to see and challenge the sides to see if they can get the ball to the edge and see what these exciting wingers can do.
Well, we can see from the direction of the rain that Cardiff Met will have a fantastic advantage. They've got the man there on the ball, Brad Roderick Evans. He's got a heck of a boot on him, and he could really be a bit of a 50-22 cheat code. But then again, Gwyn Parks at 10, he's got a fantastic boot, and he's kind of been one of the bedrocks of this Swansea team that's really brought them into BUCS Super Rugby and kicked them on as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Gwyn's a great bloke, and you know, been committed to Swansea University for 4 years, doing his masters there now. But you know, he's really put a stamp on that number 10 shirt for Swansea, and is a go-to man for Swansea University. So, yeah. Great person as well.
Could be a landmark for him this evening as well. He's currently on 96 points, so he could pass the ton. As Swansea come out in those lovely clean green jerseys, and I can't imagine they're going to be that colour after long. The rain is teeming down here as Storm Dudley settles in Cardiff. You know, I drove today and there were blue skies for about 10 minutes, and I crossed my fingers and hoped. And lo and behold, Mother Nature always wins.
Yeah.
It is BUCS Super Rugby round 15 live from Cyncoed. Cardiff Met against Swansea University. It's effectively Swansea's game in hand. If they could pick up a win here, that would put them in a great position to really kick on and guarantee the playoffs. And they're going to carry first in a big collision coming in. And I think there are going to be a plenty of those. First little nudge there. Comes back Cardiff Met's way, but the penalty's been given. In fact, they've gone quickly as well. Dav Land there, getting up out of the 22. Makeshift scrum half, picks and goes and in tight, and that's Matt Scott making the tackle for Cardiff Met. You talked about the back row before the match, Sue, and Kai, Will and Scott. They're going to be very, very busy this evening, I'd have thought.
Yeah, they will be very busy, and you know, 2 physical players in Kai and Scott, and then a workhorse and a menace in Will, who will get around the park, get over ball and really slow ball down. So interested now that second pen for Swansea in the first minute. So yeah, I'm sure Danny won't be happy with that. 2 pens given away in the first minute for Cardiff Met.
You're a back row yourself. Do you thrive in these conditions? Do you look forward to it when it's like this, or do you sort of hide away in the dry like the rest of us?
I wouldn't say I thrive in these conditions. I think this is a bit too torrential for me. Yeah, it's just really hard to string phases together. You know, you've got to really tighten up in these conditions. Give yourself a little bit more time on the ball. So maybe, you know, you're not. Yeah, it looks like Gwyn's hurt himself already. So hopefully Gwyn's all right there.
When he's going through the motions, you can just see the weather beating them, because it's not just cold and windy, it's pretty, well, I was going to say not just wet and windy, it's pretty cold here as well.
I think that's the hard bit. When it's windy, okay. When it's wind and rain and cold, it is tough conditions to play in. But looks like Swansea are going to touch here. It'd be interesting to see how the ball goes in the line out and how much of an effect that wind's going to have on the line out.
Well, he's barely made any metres there. That's nearly ended up behind him. So Garen Lloyd has come in at hooker for Josh Moore. Tell us about Garen.
Yeah, Garen's a great physical player. Garen's been part of the Ospreys Academy, so you know, a great replacement for Josh. But you know, Josh will be missed tonight, especially Josh's leadership around the park as outstanding captain. But you know, Garen's got a wealth of experience there to bring to that pack in replacement.
Well, Chris Thompson gathers the line out. He looks a physical specimen, Thompson, doesn't he? Big lock forward and then breaking away. Nobody there for the offload, but Swansea into the Cardiff Met half. for the first time in the match. 2 penalties conceded by Cardiff Met, so discipline important. That is Scott Jenkins, captain in the side in the absence of Moore, but then conceding the penalty himself.
Yeah, that's really difficult. Like Scotty's running those hard lines back inside there, but support play is just off him because he's gone that in line. We're a bit slow. Swansea are a bit slow in getting over that ball, so a good jackal by Cardiff Met there.
Well, Brad Roderick Evans with his first penalty. We've seen the wind affect Gwyn Parks. Oh, he's going for the posts.
The wind's with, isn't it? The wind's with.
This is Paul Thorburn territory.
Yeah, how many metres is that?
Well, I think this will be the longest one of the season so far. He did have a huge kick when the wind was going the other way at St Helens earlier in the year. I mean, the wind's definitely with him, and he's got a boot like a mule. Got Ewan Shenton on captain's duty with his finger on the ball. But Brad Roderick Evans, from well in excess of 60 metres to put the first points on the board. Well, he hasn't caught hold of that at all. It's short. It's right to the posts, and the score remains Cardiff Met 0, Swansea 0. Well, you've got to go for it, I suppose, haven't you?
Fair play to him for trying it. You know, if the wind's with, he has got a great kick and a long boot, but yeah, as you say, he didn't quite catch that. Just pushes it and a bit short there. So, but fair play, the intent was there.
Not the sweetest of strikes. We are back underway. There's a little dab to the corner there. Beautiful kick to the corner as well. And a good chase there from Kieran Richards. Taken quickly by Gwyn Parks, but then sent back. And now Garen Lloyd found Chris Thompson first time. Now he's under a bit more pressure.
I doubt they'll venture far from front ball here. Surprised Met didn't try and get in the air there and disrupt somewhat. You know, 5 metres from their line, tough conditions.
Because it was quite a flat throw to the middle as well, wasn't it? Thomas Davis that time.
Yeah.
Davlan kicks clear, gets quite a lot on that comparatively. Jack Sylvester, he's had a bit of a breakout season for Cardiff Met, and then he takes on Garen Lloyd, and the leg drive takes Cardiff Met into the 22. Oh, loose pass is knocked on at the toes, is it? No, referee happy enough to let play continue. And Cardiff Met go up the short side. There's Rylands, tips that one on, and Met still trying to move the ball despite the conditions, but it is slow and it is scrappy. And Swansea reset the defence. There's Shenton. Gets down low, picks and goes. Difficult to make metres. Barraclough with the tackle for Swansea. Charles Rylands again adds his weight. Scott Jenkins going in low with the tackle there. It is crude stuff from Cardiff Met, but they are safely going through phases. Patient defence from Swansea. Yields their third penalty. Oh, Gwyn Parks has gone quickly. Oh, nicely delayed pass there by Davlan, but has that gone to ground? No.
Swansea are really trying to put tempo in this game. They've gone a couple of tap penalties now, even in their own 22. So Swansea are looking to move Cardiff Met, I think, even in the first 10 minutes here with the wind against them.
Well, it's high-tempo stuff from Swansea, but they're probably just playing the averages, aren't they? Because they're not going to be making massive metres from the kicks.
Yeah, very true. You know, they're trying to catch Cardiff Met off guard. You know, that one kick we did see Gwyn take from a penalty, as you say, didn't really go that far downfield. So, yeah, probably if Swansea can catch Cardiff Met off guard with a quick tap and maybe gain an extra 10 metres, they'd be happy with that.
Well, those are the Cardiff Met Ultras. We usually have a few more, but it's usually a little bit drier. Huge credit to them for still coming out. We've had some great crowds all over the country this year. The Durham lot at Hollows Drift on what has been called Harding Hill. They've been having a great time up there. Of course, Swansea getting to play all their games at St Helens. I hope the young players, because of course they're all young, 18 to 22, realise how historic a venue that is in Welsh rugby.
I know, it is a brilliant ground. Like, what other location have you got? A rugby field and a clubhouse looking over the bay as well, and you know, the first club side to beat the Super Free in all the Southern Hemisphere sides is massive. And yeah, I think the boys really love playing there at Swansea. You know, if they ever have to move a fixture, they'd be gutted not to be playing at St Helens.
Well, Swansea into the Cardiff Met 22 here for the first time. The line out going well. There's Barraclough in at scrum half, picks and goes, and he's got the big man in behind him. Can Swansea make it stick here? The ball's loose, and Davland goes up the blind side and finds Thomas Davis. Swansea's turn for the crude work this time. Jenkins. Martin Moore-Hall pretty much just pushes him into the contact zone. There's Rylands making the tackle. Cardiff Met's top tackler. He's making about 15 a match at the moment. It's Garen Lloyd. Now Davland really being made to work for this ball. And they go up the short side. Parks with the ball over the top. There's Roos. Gets away from one. Is he going to reach for the corner?
That was great feet there on the edge by Louis Rees there.
I got a bit excited there. I thought it was the try line. It was the 5 metre, but yeah, either way.
It was as well.
Good intent there from Swansea. Good patience, and the set piece looking really good in the conditions.
Yeah, really good. You know, they're running their set piece lineouts really well. Garen's throwing well in these conditions. Executed their 3 lineouts that they've had so far. Some tight pick and goes there. You know, Cardiff Met trying to disrupt and slow ball down, but Swansea just managing to keep possession.
It's a lovely pass there from Gwyn Parks. And is that Garen Lloyd down there receiving some medical treatment?
Hopefully Garen will be all right. You know, Josh was a big loss, and if Garen's now gone as well, there'll be a huge loss to Swansea's front row early on.
Well, he's in the best of hands. Well, we've got this short break in play. Of course, we're going to spend a lot of time talking about Cardiff Met and the wider league. But I want to talk to you about the varsity fixture, Cardiff versus Swansea. Because the last one I was at was the one at the Liberty, where Cardiff had just been promoted and Swansea hadn't quite got to BUCS Super Rugby. And the fixture itself, the 80 minutes, was a stinker. But the occasion was incredible.
Yeah, it is probably the biggest sporting student event in Wales. You know, 15,000 students thereabout at a stadium supporting your representative university. It is good chaos to
good chaos.
Good chaos. And there's no noise like it.
No. Well, Cardiff Met. Well, that's not straight to a real opportunity now, and Davland goes on his own. He's only just short. And now Swansea camped on the Cardiff Met try line. Alarm bells ringing. Are they over? Yes, they are. First blood, Swansea University. First trip into the 22. Yields a 5-pointer. And it's Cardiff Met 0, Swansea 5. Well, we talked about how good the Swansea set piece was. Cardiff's let them down. And that high-tempo stuff, Shuan, that you pointed out at the other end of the pitch, yielded to a try there.
Yeah, brilliant. And some good pick and goes by the forwards. You know, they're really working hard around that contact area, picking and going into a heavy Cardiff Met pack. Kai Davis would be really pleased with that try. You know, he's a good player, physical bloke. And as we spoke, he's only recently come back from injury after being out for 8-9 months or so. So really pleased that Kai got over there.
Oh, the conversion's good as well.
It's a great kick in these conditions.
Cardiff Met 0. Swansea University 7. Gwyn Parks moves up to 98 points for the season. And that is a perfect start for Swansea. Answering a few questions in defence. And then scoring, having fired their first shot.
Yeah, they'll be really pleased with that. Swansea have probably had the majority of the possession in the first 12 minutes or so. It'd be interesting to see now how they return from this kick-off, whether they'll look to play again or whether they'll try and get down to Cardiff Met half early. And that's not great. We should get under that ball there, because Swansea should.
Well, big cheers go up from the Cardiff Met Ultras because that ball was allowed to bounce. It was Gwyn Parks who eventually snaffled it just outside his own try line and couldn't really do a lot else.
Yeah, you know, I'm sure Hugh and James Hook will not be happy with that. You know, just put 7 points on the scoreboard and then can't even gather a kick. You know, that's maybe Swansea's issue. Sometimes that lapse in concentration. Need to stay switched on the whole time, especially when you've just gone ahead there.
Well, Morgan Nelson. It's not clean ball for Cardiff Met, but it's come back. Again, they keep it narrow. All of the big bodies there. God, the noise coming from the Cardiff Met faithful. Fantastic. As Ollie Andrews goes and gets driven back. Great defence there. Garen Lloyd was involved. So he seems to have recovered from that injury well. That's Matt Marley. Still just shy of 14 minutes gone. Broadhurst throws a dummy, then tries to get over the gain line again. Cardiff Met 5 metres short, looking to immediately respond from that Kai Davis try. Here's Richards on the crash ball, tries to find Will Rigg. Rigg gets stopped short. So many bodies in narrow. But Cardiff Met knocking on the door. Advantage Cardiff Met as well. Massive opportunity now. Can Swansea hold out? Oh, what a ball, what a finish! Brad Denty gets his 3rd try of the season. Finishes in full flight, Superman style, and Cardiff Met get their first points in the ledger.
That was great vision there by Cardiff Met to throw that missed pass to the edge. Swansea didn't fold. All Swansea forwards were parked around the ruck there, and especially on that left-hand side, really left that blind side really exposed. But that's great vision to make that missed pass and dot over the corner. Yeah,
misses 2 men. And Brad Denty thoroughly enjoyed that one. Tough kick here for Roderick Evans. He's employed another ball handler this time, so it was obviously Ewan Shenton's fault that he missed the kick last time.
Yeah, he said, I want someone else this time, please.
He's really leaning that ball over, trying to keep it as direct as possible.
I'm sure Swansea would be really disappointed with that. You know, that's all come from not gathering the restart, not getting under the ball, letting it bounce, and then having a 5 metre line out to Cardiff Met. So they'll be really frustrated that that lapse in concentration has maybe cost them 5, potentially 7 points here.
Roderick Evans. He's got the legs this time. Oh, it's hit the post and stayed out. So that is 5 points off the boot that Cardiff Met have left out there already. And they still trail Swansea 5 points to 7. Let's have another look at this pass then. Huge credit for throwing, as you say, that miss pass. And how often do you see a try scored where the try scorer is already in the air before it's grounded?
Yeah, true. It was a great miss pass. Louis Rees was in a bit of trouble there, wasn't he? Didn't know what to do. Do I stay wide? Do I come in? And when you throw a pass like that, then there's nothing he could do as a winger in that situation.
Good tackle on halfway, but Swansea back on the ball. And Cardiff Met winning the penalty that Dav Land has tried to take, so fair play. Talk to me about the penalty. Oh, and a bit of needle as well. It is a derby after all. Well, we'll carry on our conversation after this has dried out.
Everyone's involved there now. Just gripping of shirts, nothing malice. Making their presence known, I think.
They're all hugging to stay warm like penguins in the Arctic, aren't they?
Yeah, literally. Maybe that is the tactic.
So there was an advantage to Cardiff Met just before the try was scored. And it always feels in those situations like the defensive team is on a hiding to nothing. So let's talk from you as a Bristol Bear or as a Wales player. When the penalty advantage goes out against you, what is your mindset to try and defend that and to do whatever you can to not concede the 5 points there and then?
Oh, you just gotta, you gotta fight for everything. So that mindset of, it's advantage. You just almost want the referee to go back for the pen. So you've really got to work extra hard in that situation because it almost gives the attacking side a free play.
Yeah.
So it gives you an opportunity to try something maybe you wouldn't normally do because you've got a chance at nothing almost. So you've got to fight hard in those situations. Cool. That just shows how strong the wind is, I think.
Well, Brad Roderick Evans has not just missed touch, he's kicked the ball dead. So after all that work over the ball to win the penalty, we come back for the scrum. And this is the first time we've looked at the scrum, and it's one I'm particularly interested in because Ollie Andrews is at loose head again today. He's been playing tight head most of the season.
Is this the first scrum of the game? Actually,
Yeah.
I'm really surprised. 18 minutes in, first scrum of the game. I think that just shows the skill set that these two teams have put together in really tough conditions. So that's that's really good news that this is the first scrum of the game. But it'll be interesting now to see how these packs line up against each other.
And again at 8, when the ball's like that. Are you picking and going, or are you thinking, 9, you can have this one?
No, picking and going all day long. And I'm sure Scotty Jenks or Kai Davis. I think I've seen Kai actually at the back of the scrum there. So I think they've flipped round. So they'll be playing 6 and 8 between them. Kai will be looking to carry this, I'm sure. I'm sure of it.
Well, interestingly, Swansea win the free kick at the scrum and immediately want to scrum again. God, these front rows are big boys, aren't they?
Yeah, it's a heavy pack there. Tom the tight head is a great player. Really, really strong. Goes about his business really quietly, but a really strong guy. But probably didn't get himself in a great position there. Cardiff loose head comes straight over him.
Well, that's Ollie Andrews, who we were just saying is a tight head turned loose head. Now, Ewan Shenton likes to have a dart. As he stayed in field, he somehow managed to. It's scrappy ball, and Richards does really well to keep it alive. Just coming to the halfway point of the first half, and the handling errors, given the conditions, have been minimal. I think that says a lot about the quality of the players. It's a tackle on Rigg. Great counter ruck as well. Slows the ball down, but then doesn't get out of the way. And not entirely sure whether his shirt was being grabbed to stop him rolling out of the way there.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I wasn't sure what he blew that for then, whether it was the rolling away or did Will come slightly in the side there, Will Barraclough. No, it's just a good clean. But, and then he needs to, once he's cleaned him out, he needs to get off the floor there. You know, he just lies there for too long. He doesn't move at all. That's an easy pen then for the ref to decide.
Well, Brad Roderick Evans is going for it again. He's the league's leading scorer, but he's had a bit of a torrid time with the boot. But then again, he's not had particularly easy ones, has he? 60-odd metres, one from the touchline. I think the one that will have really frustrated him was the one where he missed touch. But now a chance to put Cardiff Met into the lead for the first time in the match. Bit more kickable this time.
It doesn't.
Oh, it's not a clean strike again.
Yeah, he didn't seem to have the connection with that again. I'm not sure whether, you know, he's in his own head a little bit now.
Yeah.
Two tough kicks to begin with. And you could see then he didn't get the connection at all.
No. So he's 0 for 3. And again, 8 points off the boot that Cardiff Met have failed to capture.
Yeah, they'll be frustrated with that. You know, when they played the other fixture down in St Helens, you know, he kicked superbly and probably kicked them into the game and won them the game from his boot. So you say 8 points a miss. That would be 13-7 now if he'd converted all those.
Andrews, breaks through Andrews and gets the offload away to Morgan Nelson. 2 front rowers linking up to take Cardiff Met into the 22. There's Rylands, pass inside. And it's still with Cardiff Met. Richards goes. Oh, has that been knocked on? Oh, well, we've just been talking about the quality of the handling. And then it goes forwards at the base there. Ewan Shenton, the guilty party. But what about that work from Andrews and Nelson, the 2 front rowers linking up there?
Do you know what? I'm loving the way Cardiff Met are trying to play. Tough conditions, but they're still moving the ball, offloading, tipping, miss pass, you know, again. Back inside, you know, they're looking to move the ball in contact, which is really, really tough to do in conditions like this. So, you know, it's exciting rugby. They're trying to play really like their bravery. And you know, they've got 5 metres out, even though it's a scrum. Yeah. They dominated that first scrum or second scrum after the free kick. So, you know, it's not a bad outcome for them. They've got 5 metres out from their try line.
Well, Ollie Andrews is making a bit of a name for himself because he had a clean break and some footballing skills against Hartbury. Swansea just about managed to get that ball away, and it is Kai Davis packing down at 8.
he did well then against a wheeling scrum going backwards to keep that possession.
Well, speaking of prop forwards who carry the ball, you've got two of my favourites in rugby at Bristol Bears. I know Simi's injured at the moment, but Sarah Byrne, that try she scored at Sale the other week was unbelievable.
Oh, she's a phenomenal athlete, like unreal. Prop shouldn't be able to do that type of stuff, but Sarah Byrne seems to do it week in, week out, to be fair to her.
Taken by Jack Sylvester. Oh, what a shot from Kai Davis! And then doesn't release, and Cardiff Met go quickly, but that is a brutal tackle from the back row.
That was brilliant. You know, Kai really lined him up there, spotted him. Hell of a shot, comes from nowhere. Yeah, he needs to move quicker there. He just lies on the floor for a second, maybe admired his shot somewhat, but you know, it's only that split second. If he moves straight away out of there, that's not a penalty. Now this potentially 3 more points, an opportunity for 3 points for Cardiff Met, and they're going for corner luck. So yeah, they're maybe done fancy posts again, or feels like they've got some momentum now.
Well, he was one of the players that you highlighted at the top of the show who's got a lot of physicality about him. And back rowers love those shots, don't they, where they can see the runner and the runner can't see them. But Jack Sylvester will have felt that, I've no doubt.
Yeah, it was a great shot. He lined him up, he knew the ball was going there. As you say, almost hidden. And then, yeah, but if he'd rolled sooner there, that's no pen. So, yeah, just work harder on the floor, Kai.
Well, knock-on advantage. Swansea carry through Scott Jenkins. So the Cardiff Met line out not operating particularly well at the moment. 25 minutes in, and that's another penalty in the red zone where they failed to come away with points.
Yeah, I was really surprised, to be honest, at the decision to kick for corner. As you say, the line out, they're not functioning that well. But, you know, knock on at the line-out now, Swansea possession again. They could be 8-7 up here if he took those points. It was a much easier kick.
And we've talked about the conditions and the wind. It certainly doesn't look like it's going anywhere, but it is definitely in Cardiff Met's favour in this half. When the conditions are like this, if you've got the wind in the first half, you really want to be looking at a lead by half-time. Yeah,
absolutely. Cardiff Met will be wanting a lead for half-time. But to be honest, it was similar when the fixture was played in Swansea. Swansea had the wind we were against the wind first half, did really well, but then Cardiff Met still managed to clinch it at the end. So, you know, anything can happen with these teams. You know, that's the beauty of BUCS Super Rugby. Teams play until the death. They're fit sides. Ball in play is really high, so anything can happen.
Well, just a reminder of the scores in the sort of Welsh mini-league in BUCS Super Rugby at the moment. Cardiff Met looking to go undefeated in the season, but these scores, 26-23 against Cardiff, 28-26 against Swansea, then 27-26 against Cardiff. So they've got 3 wins, but it's +6 points difference over the 3 fixtures.
Yeah, it's it shows the competition and the level of competition as well. You know, that's brilliant for Welsh rugby that we've got 3 sides in BUCS Super Rugby playing competitive rugby week in, week out. But I also think it shows what Welsh derbies can do as well. You know, the pressure, the occasion sometimes really makes it a tight game as well.
And Swansea have done the double over Cardiff University, 17-13 and 20-24 home and away. Brilliant games.
Yeah, brilliant games, and I know Swansea are looking to do the treble on Cardiff this year after that last win. You know, the last time they faced each other, really, because we didn't have fixtures last year due to COVID. They didn't. Was the year before when Swansea got promoted to BUCS Super Rugby. So they've missed varsity for 2 years now. So it'll be the first varsity in 3 years. So I know Swansea will be hungry to do the treble this year.
And I'd imagine it'll be. There'll be a bit more on it because obviously that was such a huge day for the club, beating Nottingham Trent to get promoted. But that showpiece event that was at the Principality Stadium, where I don't know whether it was a decision the players made or the club made, or you came to it together, but for the benefit of the club, it was to get them in BUCS Super Rugby. But as a result, a lot of those players never got to wear the jersey at the Principality Stadium in front of tens of thousands of people. So now they're going to have the opportunity to do it. It's at the Liberty again this year, isn't it?
This year, yeah.
So let's do it at the Liberty. Again, they'll probably sell 15,000 tickets. They are going to be champing at the bit to really do a good job.
Yeah, absolutely.
As Cardiff Met have turned the scrum over there and won the penalty. And they want to go quickly, but Brad Roderick Evans, we will put a pin in that varsity chat because I think we're about to have another conflict zone here as Matt Yorath Scott is scrummaging very well after the concession of that early free kick. Yeah, it was Tom Mills who popped up there, wasn't it?
Yeah, Swansea won't be happy with this scrum. Cardiff Met seems to be dominant in this area. I wonder what the referee is talking to his second official about there. I'm not sure if they're seeing something at the scrum. I'd be really surprised actually if maybe Cardiff don't go, they've got a penalty, if they don't go for a scrum again. That's absolutely what I would do given the dominance that they're having here.
Well, that's going well, isn't it? The line-out's not going great. The kicking off the tee isn't going great, but the scrummaging is going, well, nearly as well as that wind and rain is going past the floodlights. Oh, goodness me, I'm glad we're in this form try. I nearly caught it a shed then, but that would be mean. We need to give a massive shout out, of course, to Cardiff Met Sport TV, who are providing the technology for us to live stream this game.
We'll call it a chalet.
Chalet's good, yeah.
Call it a chalet.
Chalet's good. Treated wood.
Cyncoed chalet.
The smell of rich mahogany and many leather-bound books. Oh, there we are. Hi, everyone. Anyway, back to the action. Because Richards has the put in here. Cardiff Met with the scrum that they won from the penalty from the previous scrum. Watch Ewan Shenton at the back. He goes to the open side. Tries to find Rigg, who's very direct. And now Matt Marley. Swansea under pressure again in the shadow of their own post. Will Barraclough there trying to slow the ball down. And does so. Richards. Ewan Shenton. Scored a decisive try in the game against Cardiff at the Arms Park. That's a good line from Rigg. Not quite good enough though, but Cardiff Met very close. They're over. That's the second try on half an hour. And they lead for the first time.
Swansea need to work harder, I think, around that breakdown area there. Not really folding, not really getting into good body positions they aren't. So I think, you know, the Cardiff Met are going to pick and go there. Swansea need to get into better positions. That seemed to be a better scrum from Swansea, but, you know, credit Cardiff Met, their skill execution and to drive over and get that try there, probably deserved at this point.
Now, Brad Roderick Evans with the easiest kick of the night. The flags go up. He breaks his duck, moves it to 195 points for the season. And it is Cardiff Met 12, Swansea 7.
I think the first 10 minutes of the game was all Swansea, and now it seems to have flipped completely. It's been all Cardiff Met for the last 10-15 minutes or so. So Swansea need to probably try and stump that possession now, and it'd be interesting to see where Gwyn puts this kick. Or Dav, actually. I don't know where Gwyn is. Maybe Gwyn's down injured, so a little bit of a stop sec.
There's an interesting one with regards to... oh, sorry, I just caught my eye on that scaffold there, Shuan, and that is where we were due to be commentating from this evening.
I'm very glad we're in the chalet.
Yes, yeah, me too. Very glad we're in the chalet.
I think we might have been blown off there this evening.
Oh, look at the wind catching that, and it hasn't even gone 10 metres. It's been knocked on by Cardiff Met, and I think as they grab the ball, then Swansea are going to get away with that kick. But did you see the wind take that at the last minute? And that's close to ground level.
It's another turnover by Cardiff. Swansea just too slow at the breakdown. To be fair, Cardiff are competing for everything and getting good reward there. So I'm sure that'll be a message at half time from here. You know, we've got to look after our ball and keep our possession when we've got it.
Now one for Roma Zheng to chase. Oh, there's a clash between the players, but Swansea offloading. It's kamikaze stuff. They might just get away with it. Armstrong tries to reset, but Cardiff Met finally able to take advantage of the wind and get some field position. Barraclough with the carry. Cardiff Met get low.
Cardiff Met, they're fighting for everything there, counter-rucking. You know, they know they're 5 metres out. They know they're getting high reward in that area.
I can't believe that that's the first time we've seen that kick.
Yeah.
Roma Zheng fumbles it, but backwards, and Jack Sylvester with his first carry since being absolutely marmalised by Kai Davis. A lovely tip and a great line as well. Cardiff Met in search of the third. Will Rigg steps away. He's tackled but towards the line, and Cardiff Met to within 2 metres again. Penalty advantage coming. Kick for the corner. They're queuing up to take it, and eventually Joel Broadhurst puts it down. Well, that all happened so quickly for Cardiff Met. Finally playing the conditions.
Yeah, really exciting. Like I said earlier, what I'm loving about this Cardiff Met team, even in tough conditions, they're moving that ball. Swansea just focus on ball carrier, tip on, run a great line. I don't think anyone touched him initially. You know, great scramble defence then, but got to work around the corner there. Swansea have. There was about 3-4 people lining up for that crossfield kick. Yeah, Rory Case as well to scramble back there and make that tackle. But you know, Swansea just too slow back. There's got to be urgency there. 5 metres out, the Swansea just strolling back. They've got to get back quicker there.
Well, Brad Denty will be furious that a second rower has taken his winger's try out there.
He took it out of his hands, didn't he? He'd be fuming.
But Joel Broadhurst gets his 4th try of the season. He's a lock from Exeter. There are a couple of locks at Exeter. Welsh boys doing very well, of course, at Exeter University. David Jenkins, Chris Chunza.
Yeah, doing very well down there. A great setup, and seems to be a lot of Welsh players head down there and you know, do really well for Exeter Uni and in the Chiefs Academy.
Brad Roderick Evans is not having his best night with the boot. 3 tries for Cardiff Met, 1 conversion. 5 minutes to go until half-time. Just a reminder that our ticking clock isn't linked in with the referee's watch. It's pretty close. But if it does get to 40 minutes or 80 minutes and your team's ahead, don't get too excited. There might be a little bit of meat left on the bone. Deeper kick-off this time. I think the key thing for Swansea is a little bit of territory, because for obvious reasons they've been starved of it.
Yeah, definitely. As I say, first 10, Swansea look really exciting, but it's been all Cardiff Met since, so a bit of territory, play in the right areas. We'll just keep possession, you know, and maybe Swansea aren't moving the ball as much as Cardiff Met and getting turned over, because Cardiff Met know they come in direct so they can get someone over the ball. And is that a penalty, Swansea, there, I think?
Well, we just saw that box kick there from Cian Richards. 22-22 from a box kick.
That just shows how strong the wind is and what impact that is going to have on the game. I think if Swansea can stay down in their half for the remainder 4-5 minutes and go in 17-7, you know, that's not a bad place to be, considering how little possession they've had this first half, and when they'll have the win second half, I'm sure they'll kick a lot more then.
Oh, when you're in the sheds at half-time, trying to get a bit dry and warm, it's very easy to convince yourself that this is a 2-score wind.
Yeah, it is. It absolutely is.
Cardiff Met 17, Swansea University 7. Swansea scoring first with their only real venture into Cardiff Met territory. The line out going well, though. Chris Thompson claiming it. And then Charles Rylands being a nuisance in the tackle. Cardiff Met probably giving away more penalties than they'd like, as Scott Jenkins carries. Goes in a bit high, but still manages to find the ground quickly. Now Mulhall has a big tackle. Plenty of collisions in there. Dav Land out the back to Parks. Again, pass into space. Throws that miss pass beautifully.
Yeah, that's nice. That's a good option by Gwyn to go back down the blind, stretch Cardiff Met somewhat, and moving the ball a little bit more. You know, we've maybe Swansea have maybe been a little bit one-dimensional, one-up carries or a carrier. And again, look, Cardiff Met over the ball. You know, they know what Swansea are going to do. as soon as they're catching that ball, they're carrying, so they can send 2 people down in there to try and turn it over.
Swansea in the Cardiff Met 22. They are 1 visit, 1 try so far. It's a Cardiff Met penalty that's taken them here. And they would love to stay here until half-time or until they score. Preferably both. But again, it is slow ball, and Davland assesses his options. And his option is sending a big man back into the Cardiff Met contact zone.
Looks like there's an Astor injury down there. They've been down a while. Hopefully, whoever it is, they're okay.
Again, it's not a surprise, is it? People going into the contact zone with the velocity that they do, you amplify that by the rain and the conditions and how much the game means to the players, unfortunately.
Yeah, definitely, and you know, it is a lot more slippery in conditions like this, so maybe you land a little bit more awkwardly or fall into people, a little less control to what you'd normally do in slippery, slimy conditions. So hopefully, I think that's Tom down the tight dead for Swansea, so hopefully he's all right there.
Well, we've got another live stream for you next week as we take the travelling circus up to Durham as the league leaders host Cardiff University, who are in a similar position to Swansea. Playoffs not guaranteed, but looking good. And they'll be looking to take some momentum into the playoffs and, of course, into that massive varsity fixture. Cardiff Met travel to Bath. Hartpury versus Swansea. That was an absolute cracker last time. Swansea got the victory, didn't they?
Yeah, it was a real good game. Swansea-Hartpury fixtures always seem to be a good fixture. Yeah, Swansea did really well to win up in Hartpury pre-Christmas.
And Hartpury's one of those clubs as well, in the men's and the women's game, that attracts a lot of Welsh players. Yeah,
definitely. I think a lot of Welsh players go up there at college, so between 16 and 18, and end up staying there. You know, I know they've got a great setup there in the men's and women's sides with some real good coaches. You know, Dan Murphy's a great coach with Hartpury University men. He also does stuff with the Allianz 15s women's side there as scrum coach and a couple of bits, and I know the Welsh girls as well think he's brilliant and have learned a lot from him. So they've got a great setup there in Hartpury and good quality coaches and good facilities.
And of course Sean Lynn, who is now the head coach of the Gloucester Hartpury women's team, is a bit of a BUCS Super Rugby legend. He helped them to lift the trophy on more than one occasion. And in terms of your teammates in the Wales jersey, there's quite a few exciting players. I've got a particular eye on Cecilia Tui-Pilotu. She looks like a serious talent, doesn't she?
She is a serious talent and a brilliant person as well. So yeah, she's really nice, good girl to have the environment around the environment. Yeah, she's one to keep an eye on, definitely. She put us all to shame in the gym, and she's only 18 years of age. So yeah, thanks, Cecilia.
Oh, they come and go, don't they? They certainly do. But hopefully, from a Welsh perspective and a Gloucester Hartpury perspective, she'll be around for a long time just yet. But Swansea have a scrum in the Cardiff Met 22. They've been starved of territory, but they're still in touch on the scoreboard. The scrum's not been going particularly well, but they did win a free kick first up and opted to re-scrum, so there's plenty of confidence there. The front rows, Andrews, Nelson and Yoreth Scott for Cardiff Met, who are making the first change as Barnaby Waddell is coming on wearing number 19. Plenty of BUCS Super Rugby experience for him.
So I think Swansea have made a change there. It looks like Martin Mulhern has gone to tight dead, and Tom Zuga has come on. So it'll be interesting to see how this changes the scrum.
Well, they're going backwards, but they've done well to recycle the ball as Armstrong gets his head down. Good carry, gets through the first tackle. And now Davland arrives. He's got Callum Dodd to the right. And then peeling round and spilled forward. We've not seen many of those. And a bit of frustration boiling over as well. I think Swansea realising that was a massive opportunity. And now it's gone.
Yeah, definitely. To have some possession then in their 22, to only go a couple of phases. You can see Kai putting his hands in his head there. He'd be gutted with that. But he's carried well so far for Swansea, especially gathered some pretty tough ball at the back of the scrum, so hopefully he can let that go now and get back in the game, because he's going to be a weapon for Swansea throughout this game.
Well, it is still Jenkins packing down on the blindside flank with Kai Davis in the traditional number 8 role. Now Shenton picks out the scrum half, and Roma Zheng just has to put the brakes on there as he juggles with the ball, and Dodd Makes a good tackle. That's a real physical battle over there on that flank. Callum Dodd, big robust winger, Wales under 20. Oh, Cardiff Met with some huge carries. Dylan Bartlett making 20 metres there and getting rid of a would-be tackler. Oh, and then turned over though, Kai Davis.
I'd like to see Swansea move the ball on a turnover. You know, they're just going in this shape of carrying one-up runners. I'd like to see them play a little bit more, really.
Well, Parks looking for the chip over the top. Sylvester turns and just puts the boot on it and buys 30, 40 metres easily as Parks goes again. Be interested to know what that knock on the head is, because it's been well bandaged, whatever it is. That's Dodd.
It's good to see Callum looking for some work there. He's come off his wing. You know, great carry there, really. Not much space, but got over the gain line.
Garen Lloyd, he's met by Barnaby Waddell. Straight on the pitch, looking to make an impression as Scott Jenkins takes the short ball off Parks. Parks back in a position. Has to take it on himself because Barraclough and Davis just slightly overrun it. Armstrong. Dylan White's the first man there. Thought for a second the rain has stopped, but it definitely hasn't. Now Parks again. Better phase play here for Swansea. Thought about the inside ball to Davis, then decided against it. Now that's White in at first receiver. Got the opportunity today to step up into the first team. Played a lot of second team rugby this year, Dylan White. It's Armstrong.
Yeah, it's good to see Dylan on the park. You know, he's been at Swansea University now, I think, for 3 years. Unfortunately, picked up an injury last summer, which ruled him out of most of pre-season and the beginning of the season. So, you know, played a lot of second-team rugby. But Dylan's been involved in Hong Kong under-20s and the setup out there. So, an exciting player. So, hopefully, you know, he can get a little bit more ball in hand second half.
Imagine getting a chance at full-back to play for the first team. And the weather's like this.
I know, you're like, oh, I've got my opportunity here and it's the worst conditions it could be.
Oh, all you want is a still dry day and the chance to run from deep.
Yeah. Very rarely happens in Wales.
Yeah,
in
South
February.
Wales rugby, yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
We're used to this weather here. I'm sure Swansea will just be looking to keep Cardiff Met out here. I know they're in their own half, but to win 17-7 at half-time, I think they'll be reasonably happy with that. Just a 10-point lead for Cardiff Met with the win second half. So, yeah, hopefully Swansea will work hard here and they can go in half-time with just that 10-point deficit. But I'm sure Cardiff Met will come at them here and try and get over the whitewash one more time, because that 5 to 7 points will make a big difference going into that second half.
Well, not only that, it'll be the bonus point try as well. It'll be the one that guarantees them something. It's another good scrum for Cardiff Met. Playing advantage. So a pick and a go, and nearly getting through there was Matt Marley. But we'll go back for the penalty.
Yeah, Swansea are really struggling scrum time, aren't they? Cardiff Met are really dominant in this area, definitely doing well. I think I had it wrong, actually. I don't think it's Tom Suga that's come on. It's Louis Fletcher that's come on as Lucette and Martin's moved to tight.
See Dav Land having a little bit of needle with Yuan Shenton there. What is it with scrum halves taking on back rowers?
Oh, they just love it, don't they? Scrum halves just love it to wind anyone up, and most scrum halves bite pretty easily as well.
Yes.
I find.
Yeah, they're not the hardest to wind up, are they? Right, our clock has hit 40 minutes, so we are in the final few phases. The rain teeming down, and Cardiff Met knock the ball on. Swansea decide enough is enough, and a 10-point deficit at half-time is certainly not the worst thing in the world for the visitors, who scored first through Kai Davis. That was converted, then 17 unanswered points for Cardiff Met, but there have been missed conversions, missed penalties, so as they head into the sheds, it is all to play for here. Cardiff Met 17, Swansea 7. Shuan, your thoughts on the opening 40 minutes?
Yeah, really good. Really enjoyed that first half of rugby. I really like, to be honest, how Cardiff Met are playing. They're moving the ball, they're playing with bravery in tough conditions, and they've seen the reward of that. You know, I think first term it was all Swansea, and then the latter half, especially the last 20, has been all Cardiff Met, and they scored some nice tries there, like the missed pass, like them playing back down the blind. Yeah, but all to play for second half. 10 points in these conditions, as you say, is nothing. So we've got a game on here.
We certainly have, and we're coming to the business end of the season as well. Both of these teams will be hoping to leave their mark on the playoffs, but where all of the teams want to be is at 6 ways for the Championship finals.
One of your friends is on the cameras today. Do you know who it is?
Caitlin Lewis, is it?
It is indeed. We possibly have the fastest camera team going here at BUCS Super Rugby. Caitlin Lewis and Joe Breyer, who's a Team GB sprint athlete. Would you believe it?
Oh wow! Yeah, I seen Caitlin as I walked out earlier. Yeah, brilliant girl. Super fast, as you said. So yeah, the fastest camera team going.
And not too bad on the old pictures either. What a woman!
Yeah, she's brilliant. Yeah.
I mean, what a first half that was. You waxing lyrical about Cardiff Met's ability to play, and it worked. Like, there was a big part of this where we thought creativity was going to play a part in today's game, but somehow they're making it work out there.
Yeah, and do you know what? That's what's brilliant about BUCS Super Rugby and these players, exciting players, the bravery, wanting to move the ball and play, and they've seen the rewards from it. You know, that missed pass to score their first try in the corner, brilliant. And yeah, definitely, we see when they move the ball, they're getting rewards. So we didn't have a scrum, I don't think, until 18 minutes. I thought there was going to be a lot more scrums and drop balls than that. So we have a great game on our hands.
Is there a part, though, where you go back into the change room, you're seeing the swirling wind, and you're going, lads, risk versus reward here, reel it in?
Yeah, I wonder if Cardiff Met will change the way they play now second half with the wind against them, maybe somewhat, maybe they'll play a little bit safer. And it'd be interesting to see what Swansea do, actually, with the wind, whether they'll kick a little bit more, didn't kick much at all that first half. And first 10 minutes, seeing the reward from tapping and going, gaining 10 metres. When they kicked, they weren't getting much distance. So it'll be interesting to see how maybe both teams' tactics will change. I'd like to see Swansea move the ball a little bit more and play with that bravery. I think it's been quite easy for Cardiff Met to get over that ball and turn it over. They know they go in, they're tucking, they're carrying, and Cardiff Met have read that well, and they're counter-rucking and getting really in that breakdown.
It's a tough one for Swansea, isn't it? Because they came out with a real intent straight out the gate, and then it just evaporated.
Yeah, yeah, it did, literally.
Is that on them, or was that just the pressure they were being put under by Met?
I think it was a bit of both, really. I think they had intent, great energy first 10 minutes, looking to play, tapping and going. And then I think Cardiff Met got a foot in the game and kind of smothered them somewhat. Then down in the 22, Swansea just needed to work harder around that breakdown area. But Cardiff Met have seen the rewards of being brave and moving the ball in tough conditions.
But also managing really well in the scrum as well, especially given we saw how the front rows were, not maybe well serviced as it has been in previous matches.
Yeah, and I think that's been the difference, to be honest. Cardiff Met have dominated that scrum area and reaped the rewards from it, from penalties. Yeah, definitely they've reaped the rewards from it, and Swansea need to lock out there and really fight in that area, because Cardiff definitely are more dominant in that area.
Positives for Swansea. Kai Davis. What a player.
Yeah.
He's almost talismanic for this side at the moment.
Yeah, he's a brilliant player. When he came to Swansea 3 years ago, and as a fresher, he was outstanding there. He was involved in Blues age grade before he came to Swansea, and now he's involved with the Ospreys. He's physical, got great rugby knowledge, and always looking for work to get his hands on the ball. He's done really well at the back of the scrum, actually, and that shot he put in, that's what Kai's about. Big shots, big moments, big carries. So hopefully we'll see him come into the game a little bit more second half. He's been great first half for Swansea.
One man that we're not seeing today, because he shot off with Wales under-20s, is Joe Cowell. Have you come across him before as a player? Have you been watching him in the under-20s? He's an impressive man, isn't he?
Yeah, very impressive. I've seen him mainly first through the under-20s, but really impressive, and very good.
Well, the guys at Archers TV managed to have a little catch-up with him. I mean, guys, this is what we're missing today.
Joe Cowell, just 19, still at the Cardiff Met University.
I had a phone call on the Friday, turned up on the Monday, had Jim walking around people like, Ellis Jenkins, Seb Davis, Jim Botham and stuff like that. It was pretty surreal, but they were really welcoming, really friendly, made me settle right in straight away, because obviously we had a job to do on Saturday. Turned up then on Saturday, going out, walking out, and then there was 10,000 people. It's pretty surreal, considering a week before I was playing up in Durham. But it was a really good experience. Managed to get a bit of game time as well, which was quite happy about. But the score didn't quite go our way. But the experience, there's a lot of young boys in there, a lot of talent in there as well. So the experience overall was pretty special.
And how about the freshly announced World Player of the Year, Antoine Dupont?
Playing against Dupont and Damac and stuff, the way that they see the game is just really special. The way that they see things 2-3 phases before actually happening, like Dupont's assist crossfield kick to the winger to score that they tried. It was the way that he sees the game and the way that he executes it just with no fear as well is crazy. It's been really good. We trained a couple of weeks ago on the Monday and the Tuesday.
TV, because the players are out quickly and Gwyn Parks gets us back underway. Swansea 7, Cardiff Met 17 here at Cyncoed. Swansea very much with the wind. And Joe Cowell not in the Cardiff Met setup this evening, going well with Wales under-20s. And I think something that is a huge credit to him and Cardiff Met, and of course the league, is the fact that when Cardiff Rugby wanted him to play against Harlequins, he said, no, I'm a Cardiff Met player, and he wanted to play against Cardiff Uni at the Arms Park.
Yeah, that's brilliant. He played against... I just think that just shows what the league's about, and University Rugby. I think boys are really committed. They love playing with their peers, and they really buy into the programme. They are running, they do train like full-time programmes in both universities. So, yeah, that's outstanding, and he just shows how he values BUCS Super Rugby as well. But what a player he is.
Oh, yes, serious player. But they're littered all around the league. I mean, we spoke to Fred Davis, who's the Durham hooker. We're looking forward to going up to Durham next week for the live stream. He's broken Tom Doughty's record as BUCS Super Rugby's all-time leading try scorer. Off the back of that, he's signed for Bristol Bears, your pals, next week as well. Really exciting to see his progress. And there are a couple of other players as well. One at Swansea who's had some interest, but Hugh Gustafsson won't tell me who it is or where they're going, so I look forward to the press release.
I'm keeping my mouth shut.
Yeah, too. Exactly. You've given me that knowing look.
Earlier and I was like, ooh, can't say that, Hugh. Yeah.
Davlan trying to shoot one out the back door there, but it goes straight into touch. But all it tells us is it's exciting and we've got stuff to look forward to.
Yeah, definitely. Exactly. It's stuff to look forward to. It just shows how the programs work in universities and how it allows players to be seen and picked up and given great opportunities. So, yeah, it's exciting news when it gets announced, definitely.
So Cardiff Met. Oh, the line-out's not functioned massively, but that's not a clean throw. Has somehow ended up in Ewan Shenton's breadbasket. Not one of Morgan Nelson's best, but the ball is with the Archers, slowly going backwards, but they'll just be pleased that it's in possession. Well, it's worked back nicely, and now they get the penalty advantage. Perseverance as Richards sends another one up. And we'll go back for it, but I think David Tuetti might have preferred to keep the ball in hand.
I'm surprised, actually, we haven't seen more bombs like that go up in the air, competitive kicks in these conditions. Really tough to gather, swirling wind, rain. I think it would be a great, counter-attacking option. So I'm surprised we haven't seen more of that first half.
Cardiff Met into the Swansea half for the first time in the second half.
Be interesting to see how this line-out goes now. If I was Swansea, I would get someone in the air, really.
Yeah. Chris Thompson is huge, isn't he?
Yeah, he is a big bloke.
And they do send him up.
that just shows what the wind's doing. That was completely on outside shoulder there. Oh, it's getting tasty again. More hugging.
Yeah, more keeping warm. In the stash bags next year, they'll have hot water bottles, I'm sure, in the club colours.
Definitely, that's a game changer.
Yes. Speaking of scrum halves, you talked about Dav Land. You've got Cian Richards there trying to take Louis Fletcher out. What do you reckon there is? 30 kilo disparity between those two?
Yeah, probably. Maybe more, actually. Yeah. Maybe more.
Now referee stepping in and having a polite conversation with the two captains, Ewan Shenton and Scott Jenkins, two number 8s. Two players who I'll be fascinated to see where they're playing their rugby next year, because both very talented back row forwards.
Yeah, definitely. Shenton's a great player and great leader for Cardiff Met, and as is Scott Jenkins for Swansea. Interesting, actually. Scott, when he first came to Swansea, he was a prop. Years ago, was part of Scarlett's Academy, had a knee injury and couldn't prop no more. And we said he was going to finish playing. We said to him, "How do you fancy converting to back row?" You know, he's really dynamic, really fast, over 10 meters. So he was like, "Yeah, okay." So converted to actually only number 8 2 seasons ago.
So what you're saying is you have an easy life at number 8 compared to the props.
Yeah, I won't want to be up there. Put it that way.
No, goodness me. Oh, Cardiff Met pushing early, giving away the free kick.
Yeah, that's interesting. That is obviously Swansea being up against it at scrum time. So maybe a tactic there, just holding that, putting that ball in by Dav Land to make sure Cardiff hold their tension. Look, don't go early. They go early there. And interesting, if we speak about a bomb, that's exactly what Gwyn's done off the free kick.
Oh, great chase as well. Or is it a little bit too early? Yes, it is. And Charles Rylands wants to go quickly, but isn't allowed to. Well, Dav Land has done everything right there, apart from put his hands out where he makes the tackle.
Yeah. And did we just see a card? Did we just miss a card there?
Confirmation there has been a yellow card. Oh, and it's Dav Land.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see that back, to see exactly what he does there. It was a great chase. I thought Cardiff Met player fumbled, so yeah. I wonder what actually Dav did there.
Well, it might have been the no arms on the chase, or maybe a bit of back chat, but Swansea have won a penalty from the resultant phase.
We're seeing, we're 6 minutes in, and I think is that our 4th pen of this half. So.
Well, it has to be double figures for the match now, because it was 3 in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Posts. Interesting. So Gwyn Parks is 1 from 1 so far. Kicked that good conversion into the wind. This not a dissimilar position to one of the ones that Brad Roderick Evans was unsuccessful on. He's not been striking the ball very well, but the wind's certainly in the favour of the kicker from this end.
Yeah, he obviously fancies his chances here. And to be fair, Swansea are player down, so not bad to kill a minute of the clock here. Even if it doesn't go over and suffocate them down in that area, Cardiff are going to have to kick out from there anyway. So, you know, probably the right option, given Swansea have got a yellow card at this point.
Well, just looking at the scaffold there that's still blowing about in the breeze. That'll be where the Joe Towns Media Suite is next year. And the flags go up. Great penalty kick there by Gwyn Parks, reduces the arrears to 7. Swansea strike first in the second half, but most importantly, in this period where they're down to 14, they lead by 3 points to 0.
Yeah, that was the right option, absolutely. Killed a minute on the clock, 3 points, so a 7-point game now. So yeah, really the right option. Great quick kick by Gwyn. He has got a great boot. So yeah, Swansea now, they need a clean exit here, let the ball bounce again. That's exactly what they did first half. Luckily, they gather all Cardiff Met over the ball there. Be interesting to see what we do here. It'd be good, I think, if they get a good box in or a long kick. I think Gwyn's in the 9 position there to put a box in.
And that takes Gwyn Parks up over 100 points for the season as well. The Swansea stalwart continues to perform at BUCS Super Rugby level. And he's underneath that one. Oh, and it gets charged down. Now there's a foot race for the line. Swansea win it. But Gwyn Parks inviting pressure and Cardiff Met pressing high. So you've got Parks there trying to organise the caterpillar. That's not something he'll be used to.
Yeah, I think Gwyn's playing 9 and 10 at the moment, which is interesting.
But in a list of players that you're going to lose to a sin bin, scrum half is probably at the top.
Yeah, and it's not one you want to lose really, because it's pivotal in all attacking play. If you haven't got a 9, you lose your shape somewhat. So yeah, it's a difficult one, that is.
Well, Met go quickly, and Swansea slow that down immediately. Matt Marley. Well, now is that Armstrong who's in at scrum half, just for the put-in, I think, so Gwyn Parks can control the ball at first receiver.
I bet you Cardiff Met are going to attack this scrum now.
Yeah. David Armstrong, he's one of those players who's really come on since the first year. Well, that hasn't even been struck out, so Ewan Shenton can go up the blind side. Has a go himself, Shenton, and into the 22. Cardiff Met dominating the scrum. But it is slow ball. Morgan Nelson. Well, the ball was knocked on, but the penalty, and Swansea, their own worst enemy at the moment.
Yeah, it's not ideal that, as you say, the scrum half's been binned with a dominant scrum as well. We've seen from the scrum before, Davlan just holding that ball, going in slightly to Swansea to get the free kick. When you've got not a regular scrum half putting that ball in, that was a definite going to be an attacking option for the Met. And yeah, their scrum is just, well, I would say it's winning them the game at the moment.
Well, 10 minutes of the second half gone. Swansea defending their own 22. And they're a player down as well. Cardiff Met in search of the fourth try, the bonus point try, and they find Matt Marley with the throw. Great opportunity here. Morgan Nelson with the ball at the back, looking for his second try of the match. Bartlett takes it over. You've got Richards conducting the orchestra, but then Cardiff Met with the infringement, and Swansea get away with one.
Yeah, definitely get away with that. When Cardiff Met set up, first of all, I thought, here we go, they're going over here. They seem to have a good setup. I'm not quite sure what happened, but they seem to shear around and obstruct. I think he tried to break off and ran into his own player, so obstruction there. So yeah, Swansea will take that. That's a get out of jail card, I think.
They feel like big wins when you get away with one, because we spoke in the first half, didn't we, about what do you do when you give away that penalty advantage. But it's the same there, isn't it? If you can not concede there, that's huge.
Yeah, definitely. Driving maul, Cardiff Met have got a good driving maul. If you can not concede there, that does feel like a big win, and you never know, that could be a momentum shifter. Little wins like that or a big win like that can really change a game. So Swansea now with the wind back, they're 5 metres out now in their own half, at the side of the halfway line. So yeah, we'll see how they go from here.
Cardiff Met 17, Swansea University 10. 3 tries for Met, 1 for Swansea, and that penalty off the boot of Gwyn Parks. Cardiff Met left plenty of points out there off the boot, which means amidst Storm Dudley, we have a real game on our hands here at Cyncoed. Chris Thompson again flawless in the line out and earning the penalty.
Yeah, Swansea's lineouts functioned pretty well actually this game. Statistics-wise, I think they've won almost all their lineouts. They haven't ventured far from the front, but Chris has done really well at the front there. I think Cardiff Met would be disappointed with that pen. He did come through the middle, changed his bind and tackled the man. So that's a second pen there in 2 minutes against Cardiff Met. And Gwyn's looking to go for post again after that first one.
That's in a very similar position.
Yeah.
And he'll be full of confidence.
Again, kills a minute off the clock, off the card. It could be Swansea end up 6 points up this half with a card, which is, they would take that any day. So, yeah, he will take confidence from that first kick, definitely, and definitely within range.
Added a new racing stripe to his headgear as well, isn't he?
Yeah, he has. And he'd be loving the stat that he's got over 100 points for Swansea.
Yes, yeah.
I'm sure we'll see an Instagram post about that later.
Comes in off a couple of steps, doesn't strike that one quite as well, but strikes it well enough, and Swansea to within 4. 17-13, game on here at Cyncoed.
Yeah, it really is game on. 14 players and taken 6 points from that, so that's a bonus for Swansea. I'm sure they'll be looking to get back down there, because I think when you're playing in that half in this wind, it's really tough to get out of. So.
Well, it's something that Cardiff Met didn't seem to realise until late in the half, when they put that kick skyward for Roma Zeng to chase. We can see the ball hold up again there. It's well gathered in the end, but Swansea cavalry arrives. It's one of those ones that you take and you think, oh, I know they're coming.
Yeah, that ended up being a great kick for Cardiff. He kicked it long enough, it come back and was, long enough. So,
50-22.
Swansea somehow managed to turn that over. As you say, Swansea cavalry arrived.
Well, they turn the ball over and they use the wind to their advantage. Clever kick.
I'm loving this 50-22 rule. It really adds another dimension to the game. It's really exciting, especially off a turnover. You can spot that space and that counter-attacking kick then, and to have a line out in your own 22 is like gold dust.
Be honest with me. When the rule was first announced, did you think it was going to be rubbish?
I wasn't as excited about it as I am now. Now we've seen it in action and what it does to the game. I love it, because what it does as well, it makes defences think differently about what they do. Will you drop 3-4 in the backfield potentially to stop the 50-22? It just allows for better attack in rugby. So I think it's a great rule, and we all celebrate when one gets done as well. So Cyncoed George in the women's game.
Drop goal from downtown. Oh, just misses. That would have been a huge moment.
That was brave, wasn't it? Was a very good strike on the ball there as well, from a tough place.
Well, yeah, you talk about Cyncoed George. I think any rule that's introduced that adds jeopardy to the game is massive, and this does. Look at this for a strike. This can't have been far off,
Doesn't look far off at all. I think the referee actually takes a couple of seconds to check that hasn't gone over.
But Swansea do get the ball back. He's going for it again from inside his own half. Gwyn Parks. Is it good? It is good!
From his own half. Outstanding.
Well, I am going to put my statistics hat on and commit to the fact that is the longest drop goal in BUCS Super Rugby history. Gwyn Parks, 11 points on the night. Swansea within 1. And they are battling back from 10 points down.
Yeah, he's fancying his chances on the boot tonight, isn't he? Just short that one before. His obviously confidence is high. That was a great strike, and as you say, from in his own half, great kick. One within 1 point.
Well, Swansea have just knocked the ball on there, so it's advantage Cardiff Met. 9 unanswered points in the second half from the visitors. Gwyn Parks, 2 attempts in a minute. He is a confident man, isn't he? Look at this for a strike.
Yeah, outstanding. But I bet you Hugh Gustafsson and James Hook won't be happy over there. That's the 3rd time now from a restart kick-off that Swansea have lost ball, and Cardiff Met are back in their 22. I know when I was in Swansea, something they spoke about not switching off and really grasping that momentum, just giving momentum straight back to Cardiff Met after getting some points on the board.
Surely a drop goal like that gets you some good faith at James Hook.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely.
So there have been changes in the pack for Cardiff Met. Bailey Marshall-Telfer, one of them, and now up the blind side. That's Roma Zeng being wrestled into touch. Really good work again from Kai Davis, who has certainly earned his crust in defence. And is that Dav Land who snuck back on to make it 15-15?
Yeah, I think it is. Dav's back on. That's actually really good defence by Kai. You knew the driving maul is coming, but that vision to stay on that blind there and hold that blind, try save and tackle essentially. He did really well. That's great understanding of the game and holding his position well there.
But in that period where they were down a player, 9 unanswered points for Swansea.
Yeah, they'll be pleased with that. It's just about clutching hold of that momentum now for Swansea, and they're back in their 22. I guess the messages will be, don't let Cardiff Met back in here now.
Again, Chris Thompson, very good taking the line out. And Swansea take it to ground. Ewan Shenton's in there, trying to wade his way through. Oh, lovely work from Land, and he gets away. Oh, and then tackled into touch. But immediately, when the box kick wasn't on, saw a gap and stole 20 metres.
Yeah, that's great vision there. You know, that he knew the pressure was on. He's an elusive player. He's actually really fast. He's off the mark, did well to get through there.
Oh, what a fascinating 22 minutes we have here at Cyncoed. Great to have the cameras back on BUCS Super Rugby. And we're looking forward to bringing you plenty of action between now and the end of the season. Shenton goes up and Thompson nearly did very well, but now Cardiff Met get on their bikes. Elliot Salt joins in. Barnaby Waddell thinking about it as well. It's still moving for the Met though, and they've got a penalty advantage coming. 5 metres short and a free go at it. Bailey Marshall Telfer lines up. Good low chop tackle on him. Another pick and go. Still penalty advantage for Cardiff Met. Swansea with some questions to answer as Dylan Bartlett goes. He's got Salt in behind. Got those outside backs there, but I think they're going to be getting cold because it's not coming there anytime soon as Shenton goes back against the grain. Now could we see some width on it? No, they're going to go up the blind side through Elliot Salt. Approaching the final 20 minutes. Rylands. I think he just knocked that one on at the base, so we go back for the penalty.
Yeah, that was a great driving maul by Cardiff Met there. It was an obvious penalty there. Swansea coming through the middle, changing their binds. You know, you can't change your bind no more in the driving maul. So, yeah, that was. But great setup by Cardiff Met. I'd go forward. Swansea be disappointed that they conceded a penalty there.
Just out of your shot there, Scott Jenkins is down, getting some medical attention. And to be honest, getting a bit of a breather. I'm sure his forwards will be thanking him for that.
Yeah, definitely a bit of a breather. Pressure's on somewhat. So yeah, they'll, you know, maybe that's a little bit of recuperation. Pull together. How do we get her out of here now and get back down in Cardiff Met's half potentially is the message. Hopefully Scotty's all right. It's a young back rower on the bench for Swansea, and Bob Bray, who's a fresher there. So I'm sure if Scott goes off, then Kai will move to 8 and Bob will come on the flank. But I think Scott's all right. But saying that, looks like Scotty's played mostly on the flank today anyway.
Change at prop for Cardiff Met. Tom Workman coming on. So their props now, Workman and Salt. Still Morgan Nelson packing down at hooker.
Sure, Cardiff Met are going to attack this scrum here.
It's a big opportunity for them, but in fact it's Swansea who put the squeeze on. I think we'll go for the reset there, but pressure being put on Tom Workman immediately.
Yeah.
Welcome to the game, Tom.
Yeah, welcome. Swansea maybe noticed the front row change. I thought we'll attack this one, but it's been Cardiff Met scrum all day, and you know, I think if I was a Cardiff Met, the message would have been, we're driving over this one. We've been dominant in this area. Let's go for it all the way over. don't pick it up out of the back. Stay away, nines, I'd be saying.
Well, of course you would at 8. You'd be thinking try time, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I'd be saying, stay away, Kira. Stay away, nines.
Again, the pressure comes on. Penalty advantage for Cardiff Met, so now they can have a go at it. The offload goes to ground. We go again. Now this is valuable for Cardiff Met because they are just ahead on the scoreboard. 20 minutes of the game to go. They're playing into this howling wind. And as Swansea showed in the first half, if you get an opportunity in the 22, really, you've got to try and come away with something. And they'll want 7 points as well because that makes it a 2-score game once more.
Yeah, interesting. They've gone for scrum again. That's absolutely what I would have done. They've dominated this area. With how many scrum pens there's been as well, is there going to be a scrum card at some point if they keep coming? So I think that's the right choice by Cardiff Met there.
Well, Will Rigg with his hands on his hips, David Chuetti outside him, and Jack Sylvester too. They're very, very narrow, but Cardiff Met trying to go straight over the top of the Swansea scrum. All the while though, the clock continues to tick. The drum continues to bang. It's a heck of an atmosphere here at Cyncoed.
And a bit of an addition to Swansea's coaching team as well. I can see him in the picture there. Scott Orton has come on board to help with some defence and with hookers at Swansea University. So that's another great addition to their coaching side with his wealth of experience, and unfortunately had to retire from playing early. So, yeah, another great addition to Swansea's coaching side there.
And it comes from Richards. Cardiff Met looking to extend their lead. Shenton digs. He's got Rigg there on the short ball. Great drive from Rigg. Reaches for the line. Looks to have knocked it on. Has knocked it on. And the score remains 17-16.
Yeah, he thought he was in there, didn't he? I wasn't sure whether there was a bit of a double movement there anyway when he scored and then moved it. But that just shows how slippery the ball is, that, you know, it popped out there. Another get out of jail card for Swansea here.
Well, it was a lovely timed pass there from Ewan Shenton. But yes, the stretch forward. Jack Sylvester thought he'd scored. But somewhere between a double movement and a knock-on, it's Swansea ball. But it's still a scrum. They're still 5 metres from their own line. But having that win behind them will certainly give them confidence that they can make a clean exit.
Yeah, maybe a bit of nervy about the scrum, though. I guarantee you Cardiff Met will attack this one, given the position that they're in. First job is to win that scrum.
Here comes the attack. It's going backwards for Swansea. Was that Kai Davis putting it on the toe?
He does love a kick, Kai.
Well, straight from the base, no messing. And Cardiff Met can bring it back. That's a good carry as well. Over the 10. Richards surveys his options. Rylands back on to Brad Roderick Evans. Again, it's been knocked on. Cardiff Met struggling with the handling in the second half, and it's Kai Davis still revving the engine. Just taking Swansea to up around halfway. Just putting you on 10-minute warnings, Shuan. You are in charge of the BUCS Super Rugby Man of the Match today as Gwyn Parks puts that one skywards. Good take by Brad Denty. He likes a counter run, gets rid of the first tackle and the second. Oh, and an ankle tap just stops him. And then that was a pretty hefty clear out. Richards searching for the 50-22 himself, that Parks does well and gets drilled off the ball. Kicks that one straight out. And Cardiff Met have just gone through the gears a bit in the last 5 minutes or so.
Yeah, definitely. They're putting the pressure on now. They've played a lot of the last 5 minutes when Swansea have been actually back up to 15 players. Down in Swansea's 22 and Swansea's half. Yeah, it's getting tasty, isn't it? We've seen a lot more kick in this half than we did the first half. I think teams are losing a little bit of shape and trying a bit more stuff really, and maybe trying those miracle kicks or miracle balls. I think if they settle back into their shapes and their structures, things will open up. But yeah, see what happens now. Well,
Cardiff Met back on the Swansea 22. Shenton's the target again.
It's a better line out there by Met.
Yeah, back from Rylands, and then Nelson's there. Need to stay connected, Cardiff Met. No infringements here. They've let Swansea off a couple of times. Just keeps continuing to creep. They've not been called once yet, so now they go up the narrow side, and now they break away. Swansea with some tackling to do. They're over the ball, but not over it enough. Here's Will Rigg. Turns and keeps the leg drive going. Brad Denty screaming for the ball on the right-hand side. Oh, it's been left behind, and Roderick Evans dives on it. Backward, says the referee, so it's still with Cardiff Met. Ethan McVeigh is on at scrum half. The San Diego Legionite. That is a clean jersey on the number 21. I can't imagine it's going to stay that colour for long. But he's another player who's really had to battle against injury and earn his opportunity in the BUCS Super Rugby team as Shenton goes. Again, it's Kai Davis making the tackle. He has been everywhere for Swansea. Tipped on now, Marshall Telfer. There's Workman there. Shenton goes himself and gets stopped dead. Really good defence this from Swansea. Discipline required from both teams. Workman's the latest to go. Their hands on that from Swansea. They haven't turned it over, but they have slowed it down. Cardiff Met going in search of the fourth try, the bonus point try. They're under the sticks. Oh, they're so close to the line. They've scored. That's the bonus point.
Oh, I think it's a pen.
Oh, goodness me. It has been turned over, and Swansea have done it again.
I think it might have been a back that turned that over then. Was it Rory Case that was over the ball? Oh, Gwyn's gone.
Oh, Gwyn Parks has gone. We'll come back to the replay. But Swansea going from their own 22, which, given the condition advantages, seems absolutely wild. But we are where we are. Well, Cardiff Met fluffing their lines again. Saw the referee's reaction and thought they had dotted down, but they have been centimetres from the line.
Yeah.
In the first half and the second half, but they've got the ball back here. Now McVeigh.
That was much better defence by Swansea on the line, but great patience by Cardiff Met. Went through the phases then. But you're right, I would have liked to seen really Swansea kick that out from that position, given the wind.
Well, Sylvester gets away. Great footwork from the fullback. The power to get away from the tackler and to take Cardiff Met back into the 22. A few Swansea bodies starting to feel the pace and the physicality here as Roma Zheng gets away again. Made those last 5 metres on his knees.
Yeah.
Salt. Powerful carry from the replacement prop. Tuetti once. Tips it onto Will Rigg, who drives the legs again. And Cardiff Met very much knocking on the door. Surely they won't waste another opportunity.
Yeah, it's been all Cardiff Met the last 10.
Approaching the final 10 minutes on our clock. Cardiff Met 17, Swansea 16, 9 points in the second half, all off the boot of Gwyn Parks as Charles Rylands tips that one on to Bailey Marshall-Telfer. Second half replacement in the back row. McVeigh, Will Rigg again. Such a powerful carrier. And he's really getting his hands on the ball more too. Swansea committing to every tackle. Ball looked as though it was going to squeeze out of the side there. Still slow and patient and crude for Cardiff Met. But they have that lead, they have that territory. And if they can make it an 8-point lead, then they're in a great position. Held up and Swansea survive again.
What's down there? Held up and gone back for a scrum. Isn't there a goal line dropout?
This goal line defence from Swansea has been exemplary.
Yeah, second half, I think maybe who spoke about that at half time has been much better than first. You know, they fronted up there, kept the penalties to minimal, and twice now Cardiff Met have gone through the phases 5 metres out and Swansea have held them out. So that's brilliant defence by Swansea.
I think you've got to credit both teams though, tremendous discipline in that area.
Yeah, really, really good discipline. Penalties in that area has been minimal, so yeah, it's really good.
Well, across BUCS Super Rugby, it won't surprise you watching at home to know that in that 5 metre area, it's Exeter University who have the conversion rate. It doesn't matter if it is BUCS Super Rugby, Premiership Rugby, Premier 15s, Exeter are deadly from this kind of range. But Cardiff Met having the discipline to keep the ball in the hands. It's so easy to spill one forward, but Swansea finding the answers at the moment. First with that turnover that I thought was a grounding. Apologise to you if you're a Cardiff Met fan and you thought the bonus point was in the bag.
It's interesting actually, that turnover was actually Gwyn Park, so you know he's working hard around the field tonight. He's getting himself into all position, so not only those drop goals but turnover under the posts as well for the 10 for Swansea.
Well, we'll do it in a few minutes yet, and of course it is the curse of the BUCS Super Rugby commentator. Because with a game like this, no doubt you will give the player of the match to a player from one team and they will go and lose the game. But on both sides, give me some players who've impressed you from Cardiff Met and from Swansea this evening.
I think we've spoken a little bit about Will Rigg for Cardiff Met. He's carried well there in the centre. Gwyn Parks for Swansea, I think, you know, he's kept them in the game with his boot. So and that turnover, and he's working hard. He's had a bang to his head as well. So you know, he's got some strapping on there, but you know, it hasn't stopped his mentality. A couple of the forwards, you know, Shenton for Cardiff Met as well has really led from the front as he always does. So it's going to be a tough choice, and I won't want to call it in this 1 point game yet.
Oh, we'll not call it just yet, but I feel like we've just had the nominees for the Oscars, the Cyncoed Oscars tonight. Another one who we seem to have been spoken a lot about is Kai Davis. He has been exceptional this evening. But our clock ticks to 71. Again, if you're just tuning in, a reminder, we are not linked in with the referee's watch. It's close, but it is not the official time. It is Cardiff Met 17, Swansea 16. Cardiff Met yet to score in the second half. Swansea Well, spilling a line out. That's not happened very often. Rylands knocks it on. So we'll go back for the scrum. Just been a couple of occasions in this second half where that Swansea line-out's just wobbled a little bit.
Yeah, I think that was a slip through Chris's hands. His hands were definitely too wide there. In these conditions, you want your hands nice and tight as you're going up in the line now to make sure you've got that ball, but you know, it went straight through them. Cardiff Met knocked it on, but they'd be happy with the scrum because they've dominated. Oh, sorry, it was a Swansea knock on, was it?
Yeah, so off the jumper first, and then off Rylands at the back. So a platform here for Cardiff Met. You've got Brad Denty there on the blind side. Everyone else lined up on the open side for Cardiff, who are going in search of their 6th victory in a row in BUCS Super Rugby. It was beating Swansea at St Helens that was the first of those 5 wins, coming off the back of 2 consecutive defeats. Swansea looking for 3 wins in a row for the first time this BUCS Super Rugby season, and the first victory against Cardiff Met at this level in a long, long time. And it comes from McVeigh. You've got Shenton there. Bit of needle between the 2 scrum halves. And Cardiff Met looking to inject a little bit of pace here, but Swansea over the ball. Cardiff Met holding on, and more brilliant defence from the visiting team.
I think Gwyn's learnt his lesson from the last one. I think he's going to try and find a bit more territory this time.
Well, at least he's not going for a place kick.
Yeah, or a drop goal.
And a decent touch finder.
Yeah, as we said, Swansea's line-out has wobbled a little bit the last few line-outs, so it'll be interesting to see where they go to here now. Important line-out, I'd say, in this game. 7 minutes to play, just inside the half, only 1 point in it. So yeah, important line-out.
Pop your head out the door. It's not, the conditions aren't as bad as they were an hour ago, are they? I mean, they're still pretty rotten, but just looking at the assistant referee's flag there, it's not blowing a gale like it was. Yeah. Then again, I think you get to a point where the weather's so bad you just forget how good or bad it is. It's just shades of awful. But again, Swansea don't manage to complete that line out. And what was their go-to way of securing possession in the first half just started to let them down as we approach the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, that wind is still tough, but was that ball gatherable? Maybe. Maybe should they shorten the line out? Guaranteed win ball. You're in the half, pressures on Cardiff Met, but you know, Cardiff Met be happy with that. Scrum time for them. You know, the scrum might win them the game here.
Yes, certainly might. Right on halfway as well, full width to work with. Ethan McVeigh, he was our guest commentator for the Cardiff clash at the Arms Park. He was injured at the time. He's telling me how excited he is to go and play for San Diego in the sunshine with Mar Nonu and Chris Robshaw.
Not a bad life, is it?
Doesn't sound too bad at all as Shenton goes from the base. We talk about the opportunities for players to go and play Premiership or URC, but there are players playing in France and of course in the States as well. And it is fantastic to see. Oh, is that a 50-22 that's just snuck in there?
That's a great option, you know, to put that grubber in these conditions to gain some territory there. That was a real good option by Cardiff Met to put that kick in. Really put the pressure back on Swansea now.
And we've spoken, of course, about your adventures with Wales and in the Allianz Premier 15s, but the Women's National League as well. We've been having some double headers with BUCS Super Rugby in the Women's National League, and hopefully they will continue next season and beyond as that league goes from strength to strength and becomes the same pathway into Premier 15s as BUCS Super Rugby has been for Premiership and Championship Rugby.
Yeah, I don't know if I would have gone. They went a 6 or 7 man line out. Swansea, like, you're trying to exit, you want to get out of there, you want to put the pressure on down in Cardiff Met's half. Would I have shortened the line out? Probably at that point to guarantee ball to be able to play in Cardiff Met's half.
A little grubber kick in behind. There's nobody really there to chase it, but Swansea are back within 5 metres of their line. Cardiff Met kicking much better territorially in the second half than they were in the first. Can just see the clock there, the Cardiff Met RFC win in the corner, pretty much matched up with ours, but again, I don't believe that to be linked in with the referee as Kai Davis takes another carry for Swansea University. For a man who's only just getting used to playing 80 minutes of rugby again, he really has put it all out there tonight.
Yeah, definitely. He always puts it out there, to be fair to Kai. He's been brilliant tonight for Swansea.
Jack Sylvester gets ankle tapped, and Louis Rees tries to get hands on it but can't, and Cardiff Met come again. It is relentless from the Archers, and Swansea still committing to the tackles, and they force the turnover again. Parks puts that one skyward. Oh, and Swansea win the chase. Could this be the try that put them over? Cam Taylor grounds it.
Wow, what a take there by Cam Taylor. He did really well to nudge that on and gather that in slippery conditions, but what a kick by Gwyn Parks again.
Well, he looked like he'd lost it 3 times there, Cam Taylor. Great identification of space from Gwyn Parks. Cam Taylor, only just on the pitch, wins the foot race. Lovely touch into space, and just as we thought he'd knocked it on, finishes the job.
That's a great nudge and a real good pick-up. He juggles it but gathers it and gets over the line. That is outstanding.
Swansea lead for the first time since Kai Davis's try. It is 17-21. Less than 3 minutes remaining on the clock, and Swansea on the brink of an historic victory at Cyncoed.
There's a great turnover, great grip vision by Gwyn there, and you know, what a finish. That's not an easy finish at all by Cam, for the nudge and the gather and get over that line. That was brilliant.
Gwyn Parks to increase the lead. Gwyn Parks does increase the lead. He has been immaculate for Swansea this evening. It is a 6-point lead. It is 16 unanswered points for Swansea. 90 seconds to go. And Cardiff Met need a converted score. Otherwise, they're staring down the barrel of their first BUCS Super Rugby home defeat of the season. Oh, they've taken it clean from the kickoff. What a response. Ethan McVeigh takes it in, so they need a makeshift scrum half, and that man's Ewan Shenton. Here's Barnaby Waddell. We're in for a barnstorming finish here at Cyncoed, and Cardiff Met aren't going to give up without a fight. Swansea's defence in the 22 has been immaculate, but Will Rigg is going to test that to the nth degree. Now McVeigh. He's got big men there, and he chooses Waddell. Cardiff Met back to 10, 12 metres. Another tip on there to Bailey Marshall-Telfer. Swansea have got to be careful. There are a few players in unorthodox positions there. The last thing they want to do is give away a penalty and the opportunity for Cardiff Met to scrum. Will Rigg.
They definitely don't want Cardiff to score under the posts.
Oh, knocked on by Marshall-Telfer, but is a penalty. Now we're coming towards the 80th minute. If you're Cardiff Met here, you scrum, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You go for a scrum. Oh, they looks like they're tap in, but I would have absolutely gone for a scrum there.
Well, Cardiff Met so close to the try that'll give them a kick to win the match. It would be heartbreak for Swansea after they've battled back from 17-7 down. Cardiff Met, no points as of yet in the second half. Still short, says the referee. The fans behind the goal line can't watch.
Swansea have got to work around there. The boys are celebrating a turnover and the ref hasn't given it, but they're all parked up on the blind. There's no one there.
So Ethan McVeigh has a look. Are they going to put some wind on this, or are they going to keep it in with the big men? They're going to keep it in with the big men, and Swansea putting their bodies on the line again. It's wide from McVeigh. Needs to go. It's knocked on, and Swansea survive once more. The final whistle goes, and it's chaos at Cyncoed. Swansea University get their first win against Cardiff Met in the BUCS Super Rugby era. They've battled back from 17-7 down. They've won 3 in a row for the first time this season. They've handed that team, Cardiff Met, their first defeat at home this year. They've ended a 5-game winning run, and that might just be their best win since getting promoted to this top division. Full time here at Cyncoed, Cardiff Met 17, Swansea 23. Siwan, a great day to be involved with Swansea.
Oh, outstanding. And do you know what? The boys deserve that. They've been pressing for so long, as you say, the first time for them to beat Cardiff Met in this era, but have been so close on so many occasions, pre-COVID and at home in Swansea. These boys have dug deep and worked hard, and yeah, Cam Taylor, what a finish when he's come on, hey? And yeah, it was a great result at the end. Cardiff Met definitely had the upper hand on the scrum today, and I really liked the way they played first half, but Swansea didn't look phased, and the composure second half then to come away with the win was massive.
Man of the match?
Oh, it's got to be Gwyn Parks after that. Those drop goals, that crossfield kick at the end, and as I say, that turnover under the post as well. He was actually pivotal in everything that Swansea did. That was a success. So yeah, it is no doubt about it. Gwyn Parks, Swansea man of the match today.
We talked about him at the beginning of the show, about the kind of bedrock that this team has been built around. I think that is probably the best example of that in a Swansea jersey today since they've been in the BUCS Super Rugby competition.
Yeah, definitely. You know, and you can see how much it means to the boys there and the way they celebrated at the end. But yeah, Gwyn has been pivotal in everything Swansea's done from that promotion 3 years ago, and you know, played that morning against Nottingham Trent to, you know, that performance today. Now, you know, he's been a stalwart of Swansea University and has done the jersey proud.
Well, what is incredible about that is we find Gwyn there in his headband. You can see the blood coming from the right eyebrow. He has been in the wars. He's been everywhere. But as man of the match, in a 6-point deficit, 17-23, that is the biggest margin of victory in any of the Welsh derbies in BUCS Super Rugby this year. Remarkable.
That's outstanding. It just shows the level of competition between these sides, and that was in the last 3 minutes Swansea try to get that difference, you know, so it could have gone either way, and Cardiff Met pressing right till the death there. Unfortunately for them, they knocked the ball on, but yeah, that just shows the level of competition, the want and the desire from these Welsh university sides putting in performances against each other.
And you get a performance like that on the road if you're Swansea, and you think, right, if we keep winning here, we can finish 5th or 6th in this league. You finish 5th or 6th in this league, you get Cardiff Met or Loughborough in the quarterfinals. After you've got a win like that, then you think, well, why can't we go to Loughborough? Why can't we come back here to Cyncoed and maybe get to a semi-final? Then who knows what can happen?
Yeah, definitely, and that would be what Hugh and James are speaking about in that huddle now. You know, they've got belief in this squad over what they can achieve, you know, and it's a great squad. They are developing, they are growing, but I think that performance tonight to get that win shows where they can absolutely go. So yeah, that's what they'll be saying, you know, we keep winning, boys, we can get up to the 4th, 5th position, and you know, anything can happen in that knockout rugby stages, so they'll be looking forward to that, no doubt.
When Dally Milton there walking over to Cardiff Met, Swansea the victors. Let's have a look at that moment where Cam Taylor, off the kick of Gwyn Parks, won it for Swansea.
I'm joined by Dan Milton. Dan, tough all day in the office. What's your reaction to that last-minute Swansea try?
Oh, I think full credit to Swansea. They've come down here tonight and they've battled hard throughout, and you know, full credit to them. Really pleased for them. Obviously disappointed from our point of view, but let's not take anything away from Swansea's victory tonight. I thought they played really, really well, played the conditions well, and have got the win they deserved.
They came and battled back from a 17-7 deficit. Where did Met let them back into the game?
Yeah, I think the conditions were difficult for both sides out there, and managing the wind and the rain. And I actually thought probably 17-7 we probably need to be a little bit further away. And I thought Gwyn Parks kicking in the second half, you know, certainly brought them back into it. I did feel we had plenty of field position and had opportunities ourselves to get over the line. We didn't take those, and you know, there you go. And that's what happens in the game.
There was, I spoke about it before, an element of risk versus reward. You were playing with a looseness and a kind of a go forward in that first half. things changed a little bit in the second. Did you aim strategically to tighten things up?
Yeah, I think with the wind conditions as it was, we knew that if we gave the ball up cheaply, there'd be the opportunity for Swansea to get good field position, and from field position comes the points, which ultimately got them the win. And I suppose we did try to keep ourselves quite tight and keep hold of the ball and play in good areas, which I thought at times we did. However, not clinically enough to get over the line and get the score that we needed to put the game to bed.
When it came to battle of the kickers, obviously Gwyn seemed to have a slight ascendancy there. Was it perhaps a lack of kicking game that cost you?
Yeah, that would be one element, but I think certainly not just the kicking tonight. I thought all round the field probably Swansea had the edge, and like I said at the start, full credit to them. It's a great victory for them and one they can be really proud of.
You're being very, very kind and very gracious in defeat. Where do we go from here? So there's still 4 games to be played, and obviously the goal is still top 4. Is it still achievable?
Yeah, I think top 4 is definitely still achievable. I think we'd set our sights on trying to go for that 3rd spot and try and nip that away from Loughborough, and we made that a little bit more difficult. We've got a tough match against Bath next week, and we've got that one, the away trip to Northumbria, and I suppose that exciting home game against Exeter to finish. So there's lots still to play for, and I suppose the boys and coaches and all of us got to go away, look at the video, look at what we can do to get better for next week, and make sure we bring that A game for Bath next week.
Will you expect a reaction from a game like this, losing in a Welsh derby?
Yeah, it was going to happen at some point, and in BUCS Super Rugby, this will be the first time Cardiff Met have actually lost one of the Welsh derby games, and again, that's we're there to be shot at, and Swansea have certainly taken that crown today, and we'll be excited to play them next year and put it right.
Glad to hear it. Right, I'll let you go off and speak to your team, do everything you need to do post-match. I hear normally we go for a curry.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Is there still a curry tonight?
Yeah, win, lose or draw, we'll go for a drink and a bite to eat, no doubt about it.
Glad to hear it. The rugby way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for chatting with us.
Thank you. Bye-bye now.
Quick change over. Scott, wow, what a game. I mean, where do you even begin to unravel what you've just been through? Like the comeback, the late try, the crazy drop goal.
I know, it's brilliant. We always come up here, it's always a tough game up here. It's a fortress up here, and we knew coming up here, especially the weather, it was going to be a tough one. The boys dug in well, super proud of them, especially the effort towards the end on our 5-metre line. It's a great feeling. Was it like something that you guys had to overcome as a team, coming to a club with a history, or university with a history in the gravitas of Cardiff Met? Did you speak about it a lot before this? Yeah, it's always one we talk about coming up here, especially being another Welsh university. We've always wanted to beat them up here. I think it's the first time since I can remember we've ever beat them on their own patch. I think the first time I've ever beat them, doing up here in front of their fans, is a great feeling. It is the first time you have ever beaten them in the modern day great feeling. BUCS Super Rugby League. It's great for us. Absolutely, it was a great scalp to take on to the next one, really. Well, exactly. I mean, we're a couple of wins on the bounce now. What does that do for confidence? It's great. All up from here. Yeah, but I don't think we get ahead of ourselves, It's a new feeling for us, but great few wins, and hopefully carry momentum into next week now. So let's talk about the game, because it was an amazing start, a huge amount of go forward, and the try, the Kai Davis try, and then you disappeared. Yeah, where did you go for the second part of that first half? We knew in the first half, especially the wind against us, that if we just kept the scoreboard relatively low, that we'd have in the second half. And you could tell, great kicking game for us, boys doing great. There really was an incredible kicking game, but it all started with that drop goal, with heart in the mouth moment, especially when you went for it a second time. Always had faith in him. We always knew he can do him. Always had faith in him. How impressive is he as a player? Yeah, he's great. It's great to have on our team. Kept his head well tonight. But it's great to have a boot like that on your side, definitely. Absolutely. And going forward now, I know that Hugo Staffson's talking about top 6 being the goal. Does it feel a very manageable kind of goal for this squad in general? Yeah, if we keep getting wins like this, I think, if we don't obviously get ahead of ourselves, but if we keep working hard, on into training next week now, I think, top 6 would be a great feeling. This group of players and the bond that you guys all have, is it, because it's quite disjointed, because people are off to the under-20s and people are being taken by academies. How do you bond and pull together performances like this? Yeah, we got a good group here. Everyone's, it's a tight unit. So we knew beforehand that we'd lose boys to the 20s. So, we've already had them in the sidelines, obviously, in training with us. We got a good team, a good squad training with us. So we know if boys get a good call up, obviously it's great for them. But we've got people to fill in behind. It was an incredible game to watch. If you've got one takeaway from this game, personally, what's it going to be? I think it's just our defence at the end. We kept them out, they dropped the ball, and, happy days.
Lovely stuff. All right, thank you so much for chatting with us. I hope there's a party tonight, or at least something.
I think so.
University
Rugby.
Rugby.
Quiet one, I think.
Oh, yeah, a quiet one.
A quiet one, you know. All right, cheers.
Thank you so much. I'll take those from you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us on BUCS Super Rugby tonight. I mean, what a game. Swansea defence, the kind of crazy attacking of Cardiff Met in the first half, and it all wrapped up with something that we've never seen before. Swansea beaten Cardiff Met on a home turf. Honestly, it doesn't really get much better than that. Oh, wait. But it does, and it's no doubt going to happen next week, the week after, and the week after, because this is BUCS Super Rugby after all. Thanks for joining us. Thanks to Dave. Thanks to Shuan. We will see you guys a little bit later on.